Good evening. We are bringing a commentary today of the Netherlands against Austria from Euro 2020 Group C. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon, alongside your commentary team of Matt Iles and Justin Oit. We're also joined by Mike Ornament to give his thoughts on the game at half time and a full time and discuss the game tonight and look ahead to the matches as well. Then look back at the matches that have been played today, which we have covered already on the channel. You're listening to the commentary up. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. And let's say a very good evening to our main match commentator, Matt Howes. And Matt, how are you doing, mate? You okay? You looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Russ. Hopefully you are well as Mike, of course. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously both these sides won their opening games. I thought the Dutch were largely dominant against Ukraine. They just sort of had that period of about 10, 15 minutes where, they just sort of switched off and just lost their focus and managed to regain it and get over the line to beat the Ukrainian side that made life difficult for them. I thought Austria as well were quite convincing against North Macedonia, not quite to the same extent as Holland, but it certainly shows that I think Franco Foda's side will be a real tough test for Frank de Boer's Orange tonight.
Yes, indeed. And we've also got Mike Ornament in to look ahead to this game and watch this game for us as well. He's going to be acting as a pundit alongside myself in the presenter's chair. And Mike, are you looking forward to this game as well? And a very good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Russ. Good evening, Matt. And yeah, certainly I'm looking forward to this one. Two sides that have both won their opening game as well. The Netherlands winning that thrilling game that, of course, was covered by Barry Swain in the game against the Ukraine. And then Austria beating North Macedonia as well. So, two fantastic games in regards to their openers. And I think today is going to be a very interesting game. There's a lot of quality on show. It's going to make for a really interesting, intriguing, and entertaining game of football.
Yes, should be an intriguing game of football, as you mentioned, Mike. Looking forward to bringing this game this evening and be finding this game on the commentary hub, also in partnership over at JB Sports as well. And look, touching back on the earlier games as well, which we covered today, the game which I covered today, Ukraine beat North Macedonia 2-1 in this group earlier on today, and it was a brilliant game of football. Yarmolenko and Yaremchuk with the goals for Ukraine before Ezjan Alioski pulled one back for North Macedonia from the penalty spot, and then we've just seen Denmark and Belgium without a brilliant game of football, with Belgium winning by 2-1, and Belgium being the second side to put their place in the last 16, in the round of 16, should I say, along with Italy who progressed last night. And I'll come to you first, Mike, on the earlier two games. I know you got a bit of the Ukraine game, and also you've just watched the Belgium game as well. And what's your overall thoughts on both matches, Mike?
Yeah, so I got to see some of the first game, the North Macedonia game, and I thought that was quite an interesting game. I thought they were a bit unlucky, to be fair, as well. They had opportunities. I thought, it was a very interesting game of football, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Of course, Ukraine coming out winners in the end, and that was largely down to Zinchenko playing a big part in that one. And if you look at the Belgian game as well, Denmark started brightly. They were fantastic in the opening 5-10 minutes or so. Of course, they got the early goal after 2 minutes as well through Poulsen, and they kind of come out off the blocks really, really quickly. And of course, that would have been a shock to Belgium's system, no doubt. I know they would have probably set up knowing that Denmark would have probably gone and attacked them straight away, knowing that they have to get a result and of course, with everything that happened with Christian Eriksen as well, they've got that to play for and that on their mind. So they wanted to go out and get a positive start, and that was fully deserved at the time. And then if you look back at Belgium's comeback as well, it was a really good comeback. Kevin De Bruyne was quite instrumental in that. The man that Nicholas gave his man the match to as well. When Torgan Hazard got the first goal, and then Kevin De Bruyne with the second, and it really was an end-to-end sort of game come the second half really. And I think even right towards the end, there was a free kick to Denmark, and Kasper Schmeichel was up from the back. So you could see that they were going for it right to the final minute or two, which made it a really interesting and entertaining game. So thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes, and Matt, obviously, I'm not sure if you saw any of the games earlier on today, but what did you think? If you did, what did you think to those games earlier on today?
Well, I mean, obviously, I didn't actually watch any of the Ukraine-North Macedonia game. I was fortunately unavailable to watch it, but I saw the Denmark and Belgium game, and I'm just going to sort of really talk about that one in particular more because I thought Denmark were really good in the first half. Belgium looked really rattled. They looked off the pace, and they did look actually quite shook to the core to some extent because of how quick Denmark took the game, and it almost felt that, with the crowd singing, it kind of just got Denmark an extra edge in that first half. But Belgium, with all their big game players, Martinez made some vital subs at the break. He tinkered with the system and it just kind of fell into place. And they showed their quality with that equalising goal that was scored by Torgan Hazard. And, it was epitome of what Belgium have been over the last sort of 4 or 5 years. And I thought Denmark were really unlucky not to get a result. And they've, have to be fair, been really unlucky in their 2 games not to actually get anything from it. They were dominant against Finland, and they were to an extent dominant against Belgium earlier. And I also think as well with Ukraine, it was a big win for them. By the sounds of it, was a close encounter, 2 sides that, really went at each other. North Macedonia have already proven in this group that, they won't be easy opponents. And of course, they face the Dutch in a few days' time in the final group matches with potentially still a chance for them to sneak into 3rd place. But of course, they have to beat this Dutch side who will no doubt before that hope to make it 2 wins from 2 with a win tonight.
Yes, they will indeed, Matt. They will indeed. And we're going to hand over to Man now, ready for kick-off as Austria just made their way out onto the field. Matt Ailes, and hopefully joining in very soon, Justin Hoyt.
Thank you very much, Russ. Well, both these sides won their opening games in this group against North Macedonia and Ukraine, respectively, both scoring 3 and both getting 3 points. Who was potentially going to make it 2 wins out of 2 and, more importantly, progress to the knockout stages as the national anthems of Austria and the Netherlands are about to be played in the Amsterdam Arena. Well, there was a roar from those Dutch fans as the players in orange gave a big clap to those supporters. And of course, Austria fans aren't alone, of course, as they have come in their numbers as well. Let's run through the two lineups. Starting with Holland, they've got Martin Stekelenburg in goal. There's one change to the back three from Sunday. Stefan de Vrij and Daley Blind retain their places, but Matthijs de Ligt comes back in place of Jurien Timber, who drops to the bench as De Ligt comes back in with Dumfries and Van Aanholt as the wing-backs. Martin de Roon, Wijnaldum and Frenkie de Jong are the three in midfield, with Memphis Depay and Wout Weghorst leading the line for Orange this evening. The subs: Tim Krul, Marco Bizot, Joel Veltman, Nathan Ake, Owen Wijndal, Steven Berghuis, Davy Klaassen, Ryan Gravenberch, Quincy Promise, Jurien Timber, Luc de Jong and Daniel Marlon. As David Alaba and Gini Wijnaldum, two former Champions League winners, shake hands in the middle with the two captains, of course, switching over the pendants and, of course, doing the ritual fist bumps, I should say, with the officials. Austria, like the Dutch, make one change to their team, only in the form of it coming up front. They also have made a change in system. It's Daniel Bachmann in goal. He keeps his place despite his error against North Macedonia. They've gone to a back four of Stefan Leiner, Alexander Dragovic, Martin Hinteregger and Andreas Ulmer. They've gone with a four of Christoph Baumgartner, Javier Schlager, Konrad Laimer and David Alaba, with Marcel Sabitzer leading the line with Mikhail Gregoric. And the subs include Alexander Schlager, Pavel Pervan, Philipp Leinhardt, Christopher Trimmel, Marco Friedel, Stefan Ilsanker, Louis Schaub, Alessandro Schurpf, Valentino Lazaro, Karim Onisivo, and Sasha Kalajic. Wow, it's time for me to bring in my co-commentator for tonight's game, Justin Hoyt. Justin, both these sides won their opening matches in Group C, with North Macedonia and Ukraine both being beat. It's a chance tonight, and the motivation, surely, just to reach the last 16 of this European Championships. As it seems to be that Justin isn't quite logged in just yet. So I will try and bring him back in. Yeah, it seems to be all good now. I was just saying, obviously the last 16 is what's at stake for both these sides tonight. I mean, that's got to be the motivation, isn't it? Just to win this game, and then you can breathe easy and relax for the final game of this group stage.
Yeah, of course, that's the motivation. Both teams got off to a good start with a victory. So, of course, both teams are going to want to win this one and get through to the next stage. And obviously then kind of relax for the last game, or, rest a few key players for the next stages.
We are 21 seconds in, as it was the kickoff from the Dutch. Of course, they're in all orange. Austria are in their all black away strip, as Martin Hinteregger gets his first touches of the ball. The centre-back who plays his club football in Germany for Eintracht Frankfurt, like many of the Austrian team. Now to Marcel Sabitzer, who's playing in a two alongside Mikhail Gregoric in the Austria side tonight. And very interesting to see that Austria haven't matched up to the Dutch, isn't it, Justin? I mean, they played a three very similarly to what Holland did in their opening game, as now Andreas Ulmer has it on the corner of the left-hand box. He just about tries to get away from a couple of Dutch players, but there to recover is Martin de Roon, who knocks it forward and is beyond Wout Weghorst and back with David Alaba. Just sort of elaborating what I was saying, it's quite interesting that Austria have gone with a 4-4-2 tonight as opposed to their usual sort of 3-5-2.
Yeah, I think they've changed things up for this game. I think especially because of Holland's playing the 3-5-2 system. I think they've kind of changed a little bit of formation to maybe combat Holland's attack, or maybe attack a bit more in this game, I think.
Here is on the ball now for Austria. Baumgartner tries to give it to the right back, Stefan Leiner, but it's safely knocked back to Daniel Bachmann, who made his competitive debut for Austria. It started with a win, but it started with a bit of a blunder as he gifted Goran Pandev an equaliser in Bucharest on Sunday. That's a good challenge by Martin de Roon. Now is Gini Wijnaldum with a clip ball to Memphis Depay, who's just gone out to the left-hand side, looking to take on the right back Stefan Leiner, and that's really good defending by the Borussia Mönchengladbach player. Stood his ground well, as Memphis Depay, as we know, is a real threat on that left-hand side when he goes out there, and more importantly for the Dutch side, isn't he, Justin?
Yeah, Memphis Depay is a key player for Holland, especially when he gets out on the wing. He's very skillful, very attack-minded, and I think he'll cause Austria a lot of problems. And I'm sure Holland will look to get him the ball as much as they can to create stuff in there.
Well, of course, he had a big say in qualifying for them to get here, and he didn't score against Ukraine, but he still put in a very good performance nonetheless. Here's Frankie de Jong on the ball, the Barcelona man, of course. While the anthems were getting played, the camera cut to Ronald Koeman, of course, who actually led the Dutch to Euro 2020. There was a bit of a stray pass there by the left-sided defender Daley Blind back to his goalkeeper Martin Stekelenburg. Here's Weghorst, the Wolfsburg striker, now out to the left with Patrick van Aanholt. He tries to clip the ball in. It's well blocked by Stefan Leiner. And within the first sort of 3.5 minutes, it's very clear to see that Holland are looking to use Austria's right as a make way to potentially getting chances on Daniel Bachmann's goal.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the key point. I think they're looking at that area as maybe a weakness for Austria, and I'm sure Holland will continue to try and exploit that area as the game progresses.
Well, the wing-backs in Dumfries and Van Aanholt did have a lot of joy against Ukraine. Dumfries missed 2 big chances before he managed to score the winner, and as Memphis Depay is fouled in the middle of the pitch by the Austrian centre-back Alexander Dragovic, who is playing despite suffering a double tear in his eye during the North Macedonia opener, which is quite remarkable to think that he's recovered so quickly. I think that's an injury, Justin, that you wouldn't have played on in the next game from, I wouldn't have imagined.
No. For me, I would have been out. No, but I think it's a major tournament. You're going to want to play no matter what the outcome. And I'm sure as long as it's not a leg injury or it's going to cause him too many problems, he's going to want to be out there no matter what happens. So full credit to him for even continuing and playing in this game, really, after what happened to him.
Olma tries to get around the right wing back Denzel Dumfries, who comes back well and defends it, as Austria looked like they were building some momentum down the Holland right. He was fed in by Javier Schlager before it was defended well. This is good play by de Jong as he gets through 2 Austrian players in the middle. Now out to Patrick van Aanholt with the ball at his feet. Chance to maybe shoot. He slides it through to Weghorst, was his target along the floor, but Daniel Bachmann off his line quickly to smother down low to deny Weghorst getting a touch to it. But just like that, Frankie de Jong broke through 2 Austrian players and was able to play the ball through, but it just had a little bit too much on it for Wout Weghorst.
I think he's a great player, that de Jong. Great player. He's had a half and half season with Barcelona, but you saw what he done with Ajax. He's a great player and a great talent, and I'm sure he's going to continue to get on the ball in this game and create things from the midfield there.
Well, he did burst onto people's minds in that Nations League game against England a few years ago, where he ran the show, in which the Dutch beat England 3-1 in that first ever tournament semi-final. And since then, his career as at Barcelona somewhat stalled, you could say. It's Justin alluded to, with him having a mixed bag of a season, but he's nonetheless on his day an exceptional talent. We are 6 minutes into this one at the Amsterdam Arena, which is in glorious sunshine, late evening sunshine as well in the Dutch capital. Of course, it's about 25 degrees down there, and it's absolutely roasting for those players, as the tournament is pretty much in keeping with the theme of it being basked in sunshine and a glorious occasion for these players to play. And as Interegger now comes forward, clips it down for Olma to chase, who's in a major tournament at the age of 35, the Red Bull Salzburg defender. Long there by the midfielder, Konrad Leimer, and he's going to play for a Dutch goal kick, as Frank de Boer was a European Championship semi-finalist in 2000, as he consults with Ruud van Nistelrooy as they receive some early instructions. And he's someone, Justin, Frank de Boer, who's had a little bit of criticism given his club management after his spell at Ajax, after poor spells at Atlanta United, Crystal Palace and Inter Milan. Do you think it was a surprise sort of replacement for Ronald Koeman, as Wout Weghorst gets the ball now from the Dutch challenge in the middle? He just tries to feed it to Wijnaldum, but then Alaba does well to make the challenge. Here is Wijnaldum, skipper in the Dutch side in the absence of Van Dijk. He's kept the ball at his feet well as he's gone from the right to the middle. Now De Vrij to Memphis Depay. Now Wijnaldum again, scored in the opening game and scored the opening goal of that 5-goal thriller against Ukraine, as the ball from Blind is a poor one into Depay's path, but then good defending there by Matthijs de Ligt, who seems to have been fouled. Referee says play on. The Israeli referee, who is Oral Grinfeld tonight, supported by Roy Hassan and Idan Yorkoni. Here's good play there by De Vrij, who goes down under the challenge from Hinteregger. He kind of threw himself a little bit there. And then there's another challenge in just a few minutes from David Alaba as he catches one of the Dutch players. It was Denzel Dumfries who's found himself on the floor, but there was a bit of a crazy sort of period where players were just going down left, right and centre there, weren't there, as the Dutch have got a free kick right on the corner of the right-hand box. So first of all, is that a foul on De Vrij? And then is there a foul on Dumfries, Justin?
It's very interesting. I'm not sure if the first one was maybe a dive or what, but I think for sure the second one was a foul. And I'm sure the referee is giving it, the right decision. And it'd be interesting to see what Holland do from here now with an interesting free kick.
Well, it will be interesting to see what they do. They are checking this for a potential penalty. Dumfries was caught by David Alaba right on the corner of that right-hand box, wasn't he? I mean, it did maybe look like the trip did actually take place inside the area, but whether or not, of course, he's actually gone outside it. And Oral Grinfeld, the Israeli referee, has been told to actually have a look at this in more depth. It did actually look like that the contact, as I mentioned, did actually take place inside the area. So he's been advised to by his VAR, Pavel Gil from Poland. There is contact there, isn't there?
There is actual contact there. And by the looks of it, it does look like it's inside the box. It could actually be a penalty. Definitely VAR. Definitely wonder what he's going to call here.
Well, he has given a penalty as Dumfries has actually had his decision originally from a free kick overturned into a penalty. And you have to say the VAR has stepped in for all the right reasons there, as you can just see that there was that touch from Alaba onto the foot of Denzel Dumfries, and Memphis Depay could score his first goal of these European Championships from 12 yards.
Yeah, let's see how he takes it. He's normally a good penalty taker, so let's see what happens here.
It's just depending what his mindset is. We've, of course, seen Gareth Bale miss a penalty for Wales yesterday when they beat Turkey in Baku. We saw Gianni Alioski miss a penalty earlier for North Macedonia, as they, of course, were beaten by Ukraine, as the Dutch fans inside the stadium and the nation at home holds its breath. It's a short run-up from Memphis Depay. Can he get the better of Daniel Bachmann? It's Depay against the Watford goalkeeper. It's a long pause by Depay, and he scores right into the corner. The Dutch lead by 1-0, and it's Memphis Depay with it. Their talisman, their key figure in Frank de Boer's side. And with 10.5 minutes gone at the Amsterdam Arena, Holland lead Austria by 1-0. And what a good penalty that was.
Yeah, very good penalty. You can certainly say he's been practicing during training when training's finished, taking a few extra penalties as he's a spot kick taker. It was a great penalty, calm and collective, and a great penalty there by Memphis Depay.
Well, for any goalkeeper, trying to save a penalty when he's put it that far in the corner is merely impossible. And that's another case there, as Daniel Bachmann dived the right way, dived to his right, but the penalty was too strong and too powerful, as Frank de Boer just gives a little fist bump as the Netherlands lead Austria by 1-0, and it's Memphis Depay with it. And that really now might just change the complexion of this game very early on for Franco Foda's side. Potentially, as they might now have to go out and attack, as David Alaba has actually been booked in the process for that foul.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to have to attack now, obviously, to get the equaliser. And if they want to win this game, they're definitely going to have to probably change their tactics a bit early on to change their tactics. But obviously, going a goal down, you start to think, do you have to change something early on, or do you wait 5 or 10 minutes to see how it pans out? But for sure now, Austria have to come out and try and get that equaliser.
You're listening to this game on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. And, of course, if you're tuning in on YouTube, you are watching it from the JB Sports channel. Of course, we are partnering with them for these European Championships, as they provided our coverage for a lot of the games so far, and they will continue to do so right all the way through to the final, as Stefan de Vrij now picks the ball up in Austria's half as he's come from his own half to run into it. Wijnaldum to now Martin de Roon of Atalanta through to de Jong. Does often find those pockets of space well. He's got onto the edge of the box away from Schlager. He plays it off to Memphis Depay, whose shot is blocked by Alexander Dragovic, and he's just sort of stumbled to the ground there as I think he might have been a bit winded from that, but really good play there by Frankie de Jong, wasn't it? Just trying to set the chance up for Depay.
Yeah, such a great player. I mean, I said it before. He's a really, really key player in that midfield for Holland. He's going to control this game and keep dictating things. And you can see every time that they're looking for this Memphis Depay to create things in the attack. And I'm sure they're going to continue that throughout the game. But no, Frankie de Jong, what a player. What a player. And for every young midfielder, I think he's one person to look at throughout this tournament and when Holland play.
Well, if you are just tuning into our coverage, it is Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Memphis Depay from the penalty spot. The original decision was not actually given as a penalty by the Israeli referee Oral Grinfeld, as Martin de Roon catches the Austrian player there in the middle of the pitch, and it's a yellow card for de Roon. That was a bit of a rash challenge. The ball went away from him. The man who he catches is Mikhail Gregoric, and no complaints at that booking there.
No, you can't complain with that booking. It's getting kind of physical this game. A few tackles are going in. I think it continues. The referee's doing a good job booking where needs be. But no, for sure, this game's kind of physical at the moment. A few tackles flying in.
I heard the little laugh there, Justin. Is that something that you're quite happy to see?
Yeah, I mean it's part and parcel of football. You know, a lot of the times you see players rolling on the floor, or nowadays you're not allowed to tackle as much. But it's also good to see. It's part and parcel of the game, and that separates the men from the boys.
Ball by Gregoric was nearly through to Andres Olmer, who's going to have to do a lot of running up and down that left-hand side. It is fantastic to see a 35-year-old play in these European Championships. He's Red Bull Salzburg's record appearance holder, as there's a little slip from Van Aanholt, but he luckily knocked it back to his goalkeeper, Martin Stekelenburg, who kicks it high down the middle for Weghorst. Out-jumped by Dragovic. Heavy touch by Daley Blind. Now Javier Schlager to Marcel Sabitzer. A lot about his future and where he will be playing beyond the Euros, of course. He's told Leipzig he wants to go, as he gets it from Olmer here in the middle of the pitch, around about 20 yards out. Now Schlager turns to the left and gives it to Olmer, as Austria are just trying to get themselves into the game. He clips it forward, looking for the striker, Mikhail Gregoric, but it's over him and straight through to Martin Stekelenburg. 15 minutes gone. It's Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Justin, what are your first observations from the first quarter of an hour of this one?
You can see, I think Holland are dominating the midfield. They're looking to get Frankie de Jong on the ball most of the time, and as you can see, their main talisman, Memphis Depay, they're trying to get him on the ball in the attack and really cause chaos in the Austria defence.
Weghorst is just trying to get away from Alaba. Yeah, sorry to break it up there. Sorry to break you up there, Justin. It was just there was a promising attack for Wout Weghorst, as David Alaba just has to stand in front of him and block it out for a throw-in. But there is that option there, isn't there, just for the big man Weghorst. There is always that space in behind. That has been happening a few times as Denzel Dumfries goes over to take the throw. Wanted it to go short to de Vrij, who's come all the way up from the right centre-back position to come short for the throw. It goes to Weghorst, who came short for it from the middle. It's hacked away clear. And, just sort of well defended in the end by Austria, as now the ball is with Daley Blind, the former Manchester United man. Depay with the first-time ball into the middle with Frankie de Jong. Now Van Aanholt's on the overlap, gets the cross in, but it's well took in the end by Daniel Bachmann. But we were just talking about it earlier on, weren't we, how this left-hand side for the Netherlands is going to be so important for them tonight in terms of how they attack.
Yeah, it looks like they're putting all their attack down that side. Van Haaland getting on, attacking really well, and you can see that they're really targeting that right side of Austria in the defence there, and they're exploiting a lot of space there.
Memphis Depay gets it from Weghorst's flick. Weghorst gets it back, turns back to play it into the midfield with Martin de Roon. Now Dumfries to de Roon again as Austria are just sort of backing off the Dutch as they allow them to just play keep ball. De Ligt now to Blind. Van Aanholt back to Blind. Now is Memphis Depay, the goal scorer from the penalty spot. Chips it forward, looking down the middle once more, but it's overhit and easy for Daniel Bachmann to take. Thrown out to Stefan Leiner. Now with Christoph Baumgartner. Now, here is Baumgartner again. Back to Dragovic, a former Leicester City player. Here's David Alaba, will be going to Real Madrid on July the 1st after his contract with Bayern Munich expired. Hinteregger gets away from the challenge of Weghorst. Plays it into the middle to Gregoritsch. Comes back out to Hinteregger. Ullmann with the cross. Looks for the run of Gregoritsch, but it's over his head, and then Van Aanholt gently knocked it back to his goalkeeper, Martin Stekelenburg.
Back on the Alaba news, I see that Ramos looks like he's departing Real Madrid as well, which will be interesting. I thought Ramos would have been a good partnership with Alaba at the back there. Obviously with Varane looking to leave also, so it'll be interesting what happens at Real Madrid there with Ramos leaving. Sorry to change the subject.
No, I mean, that's absolutely fine. I mean, just a quick answer. Where does Ramos go? Because, I mean, it's going to be hard for him to fit in anywhere in England, isn't it? As I'll just get your answer in just a sec. As Ullmann's been put through down the left-hand side. He's done really well, though. Frankie de Jong, his marker, just to out-muscle him and win the ball back. Really good defensive play. And good, more importantly there, reading of the game to not allow Ullmann to carry on and potentially put a ball in there. That was really exemplary defending by Frankie de Jong. And the opening 20 minutes has been Holland's standout man, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, you know, I keep on saying it, but even defensively, he's in the right place at the right time. And even on the ball, he knows what he's doing. He's controlling things there for Holland. And he's for sure, for me, a key player for Holland in attack and in defence. Such a young player, but looks like he's a very, very experienced player and knows exactly what he's doing at all times.
Well, he has got years ahead of him, you could say, given his age. The Barcelona man, as Holland have possession amongst their defenders, as De Vrij goes out to the right with Dumfries. Now to Wijnaldum. We've not really seen the energy bursting runs forward from Dumfries there, as the foul is made by Hinteregger on Wijnaldum, just inside Holland's half and right in front of Frank de Boer, who's occupying a standing position on the touch line. As we are 20 minutes in, it is Holland 1, Austria 0. The other game in this group earlier on today saw Ukraine beat North Macedonia by 2-1 to put their chances of reaching the knockout stages into a good position with that win earlier on against Igor Angelovski's side, as Weghorst tries to get around Alaba, but the little arm into the side of Weghorst just meant that the ball went away from him, and then it's headed out by De Vrij out for a throw. And I mean, it's been about 10 minutes since Austria conceded, Justin. I mean, the only real concern is they haven't threatened Netherlands on goal yet, have they? As Martin Stekelenburg's practically had nothing to do of note so far.
No, I don't think that hardly anything to do. I mean, Austria have got a lot of possession, but I think that's more possession in their own half. I think they need to think about ways of getting into the Holland defence in the half and start, attacking the goal a bit more. At the moment, they seem to have more possession in their own half rather than, playing a bit higher up and causing the Dutch defence a few more problems and getting a few more shots on goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been very much non-existent so far for Franco Foda's side, but one thing that is for sure is you wouldn't expect the Austria to go quiet, as the ball was nearly found to Wout Weghorst, who's really covered the channel so far, through the middle, from the right, on the left, whatever you name it. He is a big link-up player for Orange, and of course he is somebody that is a key player as much as anybody else in this Dutch side, a man who's come off the back of a good season in Germany for Wolfsburg. Liner's clearance is a poor one as the Dutch win it and retreated in midfield. Now to Memphis Depay. Van Aanholt was fouled there by Baumgartner. Ball goes in. Alaba with a crucial header away in the middle. Headed back forward by De Roon, looking for Weghorst. It is cleared away again as Holland were coming forward there in not so many numbers, but in potentially good play. And then there was that sloppy ball by De Jong that was looking for Patrick Van Aanholt, and then the ball is given back to Bachmann by the Austrian defence, which is over the head of Gregoric, back into the path of Daley Blind just inside his own half. And that's something that Austria cannot do, isn't it? It's just when they get the ball back, they give it straight back to the Dutch. They know that, as you were saying, they've got to have possession in the midfield, which they have had a lot of, but they need it more when they try and attack, don't they?
Yeah, they need it more when they attack. I mean, it seems like they're just, happy to have it at the back, happy to have it in the middle, and then when they get forward, they seem to just give it back to Holland there. But they can't continue to do that, otherwise it's going to be a long night for them and a long game for them. Because Holland, the way they're looking, they look like they're going to control the game and create a few more chances on the counter attack. But the way things go in Austria need to do something to get the ball forward more and with a bit of urgency as well. I know it's early on in the game, but even so, they still need to threaten the goal a bit more than what they're doing.
Well, that absolutely is the case. If you are just tuning in, it is Netherlands 1, Austria 0 on the commentary of the home of alternative commentary. Remember, a win tonight for Frank de Boer's Holland will see them become the third side to reach the last 16 of the European Championships. Italy and Belgium are the first two sides who booked their places. That's a really high ball diagonally from Dragovic, which he's hit out of play for a throw, which was intended for Ulmer. He's not the tallest of players, it has to be said, as those Austria fans have got their arms folded and know that they're pretty unhappy with what they've seen so far, as the Dutch here could profit from this throw that's gone through to Depay, who shoots. It's into the side net, and I think he took everybody by surprise that he took it on that early. It was one touch off his chest, and then he tried to beat Bachmann at his near post to his left-hand side, and Depay was not too far away from getting a second goal of this game and for himself.
No, he wasn't. It's something that probably the keeper wasn't expecting, so he thought he'd take it and then shoot early, catch everyone unexpectedly. But another chance there for Netherlands there, and another chance, an opportunity for Memphis Depay.
Here is now Leimer trying to slide it through to Liner of Borussia Mönchengladbach, and it's overhit and gone out of play for a goal kick. But just coming back from that chance, I mean, David Alaba there was just completely took aback by the bounce, wasn't it? It was that quick throw by Dumfries on the right-hand side. Depay took it really well in his stride, and, had he maybe took his time and looked up a little bit more, he certainly would have gone the other way of Bachmann and gone to his right, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have done. Yeah, I think he would have had a bit more time. He would have seen that open, that area there. But I think he wanted to take a quick shot, catch everyone unexpectedly. So in the heat of the moment, he shot and had that chance. And you never know, on another night, that could have gone in.
He wasn't too far away at all. And as you say, some of those shots, when they do come off, they do look amazing. But Memphis Depay, unfortunately, just couldn't quite pull it off, as the ball is now with Dumfries. Just gets away from Ulmer, tries to find Weghorst, to actually turn the other way. As he was trying to find him through the middle there, Dumfries, he was unable to pass him the ball and pick him out successfully. As we've seen Van Aanholt really venture forward a lot, but Dumfries hasn't quite done that. It was the opposite way, really, in the opening game, as there's a foul in the middle there on the striker Gregoric, but the advantage is played by Odell Grinfeld, who's shown 2 yellow cards already, so he's laid down the law pretty early, as Liner has given the ball away, as Depay now has it on the left-hand side, well away from Austria's goal, plays it back to Frankie de Jong, who's got a lot of time to play a pass, which he plays forward to Wijnaldum. Now De Vrij, off the back of winning Serie A with Inter Milan this season. Now Daley Blind tries to play it forward, but then unintentionally sort of had a little fakey of it, but then was able to play it forward, despite Gregoric putting him under pressure. Now Depay, who's been given a lot of time, as he's practically just hugged the left-hand touchline when they have attacked sort of down that left-hand side, as Holland are just slowly, patiently working and opening, and then Depay tried to give it to Van Aanholt, but Van Aanholt, it looked like, wasn't really on the same page as Memphis Depay there.
No, normally they're two in real sync there. They know what both each other are doing, but unfortunately on that one, Van Haaland wasn't expecting something. They wasn't in sync. But no, it looks like they're creating a lot down that Holland's left-hand side. Wonder if that's their game plan for this game. Whereas last game, we saw Dumfries attacking more than Van Haaland. So
Baumgartner with the
I
shot.
wonder
It's
if
gone off Delict,
Ooh.
and then it's saved by Stekelenburg following the block. But that's the brightest that Austria have managed to think of in this game. Is Baumgartner got it. He drove at the Dutch defence. Dumfries was out of position. De Vrij had to come across and cover, and De Ligt tried to sort of head it away, and instead sort of just headed it into the ground. It bounced off him, and then all the way through to Stekelenburg with the ball's pace completely gone. But there was that cited for Baumgartner as Marko Arnautovic suspended, remember, due to a comment he made towards Gianni Alioski and Egjon Beytulay for North Macedonia. And their win on Sunday looks on as he thought that Austria were in there, but Baumgartner there just flat, quick as a flash, managed to get the shot away, but it was well blocked by Matthijs de Ligt, who put his head in where it hurts, which as a defender is sort of the minimum, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the minimum. I think that's the minimum requirements for a defender nowadays. You have to put your head in where it hurts sometimes, to stop that goal or to stop a chance.
Sabitzer into Gregoric. That's a really good challenge by Matthijs de Ligt again. As maybe Austria just trying to change the shift in power, but Matthijs de Ligt, one thing about his game, isn't it, Justin, is the fact that his positioning, his reading of the game is just so good, and why in that Ajax team that was so close to the Champions League final, alongside De Jong, he was a real standout himself.
Yeah, he was. His positioning, his defensive play is fantastic for such a young player. And when Ajax got into that Champions League, on that Champions League run, he for sure was a standout defender. And you can see he's a born leader, and that's why he's in the back there for the Netherlands, and a true leader for sure. And he definitely puts his body in where it's going to hurt.
Well, it just sort of came out of nowhere to make that crucial challenge on the Austria forward Michael Gregoric, and of course they have just sort of woken up a little bit. They are now maybe starting to, put a grain of doubt in the Dutch mind, who had it really comfortable for sort of 25 minutes. But the last 5 minutes, we've seen a change in intensity by Austria. They seem to be playing a little bit more quicker as the ball is once again over the head of Wout Weghorst. Back to Bachmann by Hinteregger. Long ball forward by Bachmann, looking for the forward, which is Baumgartner, as he's almost playing alongside Michael Gregoric now. And just sort of echoing what I was saying. I mean, Austria, in the last 5 minutes seem to have just, stepped up their game, haven't they? They're almost trying to say, look, we are trying to get this equaliser now, and it's not going to be too comfortable for you.
Yeah, of course, they have to if they want to get back into this game. Obviously, half time, not too far away. They have to do and push something, and you can see that they're putting a bit more, speed into play and wanting to attack more and play higher up the field rather than, being happy to play in their own half, which is what Austria need.
De Ligt with the ball, gives it to De Vrij. Half an hour gone here. Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Memphis Depay's penalty, his first of the tournament, has given the Dutch the lead. And as it stands, they will book their place in the last 16. As now the ball is with Javier Schlager to David Alaba. Now Martin Hinteregger has it, as Austria just decide to keep the ball in amongst their defence. Now Hinteregger again. Now Schlager receives it short from the middle. Alma tried to give it to Baumgartner, but it's cut out by De Vrij. Dumfries with a little ball down the line. Wijnaldum nearly tried to spin away from Hinteregger, who was having none of it and was alert there, as Austria now have it. Here's Baumgartner, give and go with Sabitzer, but he's fouled off the ball by De Vrij, and that is a free kick and maybe a booking for Stefan De Vrij.
Yeah, I think that could be a booking. The referee's done well with the booking so far, so I think that could be another booking.
I think it's what they call a tactical foul, don't they? As De Vrij just stood up to Baumgartner and didn't allow him to go on the outside of him and receive the give and go from Sabitzer there. And I think that's something that in the game is always going to be there, isn't it? Those tactical fouls, as Austria have got a free kick here with David Alaba, which he takes short. Sabitzer to Ulmer. Now it's with the number 24, Konrad Laimer, chips it forward, but it's a free kick that they've almost tried to work from the training ground, which has not really come to any effect or any threat, as Daley Blind's clearance just bounces off the right back, Stefan Leiner, who was all the way in Holland's final third, trying to close down that ball down the left-hand side, which Blind was looking down the line from. Frank de Boer in the opening 32 minutes, Justin, I think will be pretty happy with his side's performance, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy. Being one up, he'll be pretty happy. They've kind of controlled the game. They've stopped Austria from causing, the defense much trouble. Austria haven't really created too much chances. So I think Frank de Boer will be kind of happy with how things are going so far.
Well, he certainly will be, of course. He replaced Ronald Koeman, who had a really good spell as the Dutch manager as he left to go to Barcelona. Of course, many people saw his track record and thought, well, maybe he's not quite Holland material, but his record as a player speaks for itself as they're trying to get Konrad Laimer, the Leipzig midfielder, through the middle on the go there. As that ball was played from the left-hand side, just in Austria's half. It was a long searching ball there as Konrad Laimer's not able to get there as the ball's gone out of play for a goal kick. But that's something that Austria maybe need to try and do, don't they? They haven't really got the pace up front. Obviously, we've seen Baumgartner show glimpses of what he can do. So maybe, do you think almost, Justin, they need to try to play to Mikhail Gregoric's strengths and maybe Marcel Sabitzer? Because as we know, Sabitzer can drop in and be that real technical player.
Yeah, I think they need to try and change their tactics to that, really. They have to change something, and I think they have to play to the players' strengths. Because obviously you can see they've not really got the pace to kind of threaten in behind in the Dutch side. So I think it's kind of, trying to change the tactics and get them on the ball and, create a different kind of way of attacking, really. Because at the moment it's coming very, very predictable in what they're trying to do.
The game has just sort of managed to go a bit stale and not really be chances galore as it sort of was maybe at the start of the game and what we were thinking, but it's still Netherlands 1, Austria 0 as we enter the final 11 minutes. Good feat by Olmer to get away from two Dutch players. Plays it in the middle to Laimer, who's then looking for options as he turns from right to left and then looks forward, but does shift it out to the right with Dragovic. And then it's gone off the left wing back, Patrick Van Aanholt. Throws taken quickly by Liner. Sabitzer to Gregoric. Now Sabitzer again. They're almost having to just go back, aren't they, Austria, just to keep possession. There's not really a forward runner so far. There's been the disappointing thing for Franco Foda's side. Hinteregger tries one and hits it over the bar, and he caught a hold of it really well, the number 4 for Austria, and he was about 25 yards out. It was a good effort from him, and it was off target ultimately, but yeah, certainly, as you said, worth a try.
Something a bit different, something that, maybe the keeper might not be expecting. If it was on target, you never know what could happen. The keeper might not be expecting it, but, Austria are still pushing now for that equaliser and trying something different to what they was doing, which is good to see.
Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't, just like Memphis Depay's effort around about sort of 15 minutes ago, in which he tried to take it early, tried to catch the keeper out as Depay's just hit the floor from Dragovic's challenge, and Holland have got a free kick inside their own half. 10 minutes to go in this one in the first half. Netherlands 1, Austria 0, and a game you listen to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary, and on JB Sports. Remember the other game in this group earlier in Bucharest, Ukraine beat North Macedonia by 2-1 to get their first win of the tournament. If the Netherlands win tonight and it stays like this, they will progress to the last 16 and know that they can play their final game against North Macedonia with a bit of a relaxed sort of mode, maybe just sort of creeping into the players as a result. Depay tries to get it from the centre-back Daley Blind, but it's defended well by Javier Schlager, who's able to do that. He really does cover the ground well and defend for his side, as we've seen tonight. Through by Baumgartner to Hinteregger, who was trying to join the attack, but it's defended well by the Dutch down that left-hand side, and it's an Austria throw. As Andres Olmer goes to take it. Throws it forward. Good run there by Schlager to receive it. As he kicked there by De Roon. Referee says no. De Roon, of course, has got to be careful as he got booked. And then there's a little foul there by Hinteregger on Gini Wijnaldum. And Holland have got a free kick inside their own half and well away from their own area. As you can see there, Schlager went down under the challenge by Wout Weghorst, actually. Just sort of had his foot against his knee. That, to me, looked like a free kick just before the foul on Martin De Roon. The foul on Gini Wijnaldum, didn't it? Schlager is trying to say to the Israeli referee, look, that should have been a free kick for me just moments before.
Yeah, I think it should have been. I think the referee's done quite well so far in this game, but I think he missed that one. But he's refereed really well so far. Um, but no, he's been good so far.
De Jong just trying to get away from 3 Austrian players. Gives it to Daley Blind, who then couldn't give it back to De Jong. It's gone off an Austrian player and out for a Holland throw down the left-hand side around about 30 yards from goal. Of course, the Dutch against Ukraine created a lot of chances. They really did give Georgie Bushan's goal a lot of a thing for him to do, but it ultimately was one which they managed to score 3 in the second half with Wijnaldum, Weghorst and Dumfries scoring. They are one up here with the goal in the first half as Stekelenburg has possession. He's had nothing to do yet, which is something that he will no doubt be absolutely ecstatic about, but Austria certainly won't be, as Schlager then looks to try and play Baumgartner as it's cut out well by Stefan de Vrij, and then the last touch has gone off Liner as he was touch tight to Patrick van Aanholt, and it's gone out for a Dutch throw. The game has just sort of faded into little niggly fouls and off the ball incidents as Gregoric catches the Dutch defender Daley Blind, and that was quite a late foul from Gregoric, and something that he probably didn't need to make down that side, right next to the touchline on the left-hand side.
No, it was an unnecessary foul. And as you say, it's getting a little niggly now towards the end of the half. A few little niggly fouls that maybe not needed in the game, but I guess it's crept into this game, heading towards half time now. Maybe it's a bit of frustration on Austria's end, or I'm not sure, but it's not needed. But we'll see how the rest of this game half pans out.
It does almost feel like to me a little bit that it's just kind of slowed the game down, hasn't it? I mean, we did see that sort of both sides were trying to, attack with each other. Yes, Austria's has not quite been there, but it certainly, I think, stopped the Dutch to some degree as Van Aanholt gets it here. Looks up to find Weghorst. He's going to find him. Good chance here for Weghorst. He lays it back to Depay, and he's missed from a few yards out. It looked harder for him to miss. He's put his arms on his hips, and he looks to the sky, and he's in disbelief that he's missed, but it was very unselfish play by Weghorst, and the Dutch really should be 2-0 up from Memphis Depay there.
Yeah, he should. He knows it himself. I think you can see with his hands in his head there, he should have scored that. He knows, and the other players know. And he'd be very disappointed he didn't put that away and put Netherlands 2-0 up there. He should be scoring that.
Well, it was a lovely ball by Van Aanholt that found Weghorst. He just took his time. He just half-volleyed it into the path of Memphis Depay, who was just a few yards out, and he's just rushed it, isn't it? It was deflected on its way through to him via Martin Hinteregger, but he must feel as though that's a sitter in his eyes as we enter the final 5 minutes. Van Aanholt here, now in the box via an Austrian block. It's Wijnaldum, but it's a great bit of defending by Andreas Olmer. Had he not been there, it might have gone beyond Daniel Bachmann's goal, or better yet, it might have gone through to him to save. And then there is a foul of some sort just in the middle, right near the edge of the box. But in the space of just a matter of minutes, the Dutch have come close twice. Yeah,
they have. Van Aanholt's pushing on again, like he was earlier on in the half. But now he's really starting to create chances and create chances for himself. So now he's playing really, really well at the moment.
Well, he gets a bit lucky, doesn't he, Van Aanholt? Because it comes off an Austrian player, and then it's gone to him. He lays it back to Wijnaldum. He does everything right, doesn't he? But I think he's sort of probably a bit surprised, as I was, that Olmer came back so quickly and filled in, read the position of where Wijnaldum was going to shoot, and just got in the way of it and just effectively cleared it away, didn't it? It was a real surprise to see that.
Yeah, I think I didn't even expect that as well. I'm a fullback myself, so I probably wouldn't have expected him to be there either.
Would you have been able to make the ground up trying to block that up, or is that something that you would just admit defeat from and just hope your keeper saves?
When I was younger, yeah, probably. Now I'm getting a bit older. I'm not sure, but in this major tournament here, I think I'll be, dying to get back to make a block. So no, I'd 100% make sure I'm back, no matter what age I was at.
But you've still got a little bit of life in you left yet, Justin, as
I'm trying.
as Dumfries gets it back from Weghorst, but then Dumfries, as he receives it, sees his clearance blocked off by Marcel Sabitzer. 3 minutes of the half to go. plus maybe stoppage time, maybe a minute or so of it to come, as it's Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Dumfries with the header. Schlager then gives it to Olmru, then plays it forward to Gregoric, who's not had the opportunities that he had against North Macedonia. Members did score in that 3-1 win along with Stefan Leiner and Marko Arnautovic, who's missing tonight due to a one-game suspension sanctioned by UEFA. There did look like a bit of a sandwich on one of the Austrian players right on that right-hand side. There was two Dutch players in between it, as there is no need for the Dutch to kick it out due to it not being a head injury, and the referee now has noticed that, as Oral Grinfeld has stopped that, as Memphis Depay was just getting into his stride trying to receive that pass. I mean, I'm not actually too sure why he's actually given that there, to be honest with you, as Gregoric was fouled there by Blind, and then Van Aanholt came across to have a little swipe at him. Well, that's one of those where that really hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, that hurts. That for sure hurts. He won't be up straight away after that one.
Well, he probably will be feeling a little bit winded after that, but of course, it's nothing too serious, I think, for Franco Foda and the medical staff to be concerned about. Sabitzer is fouled by Stefan de Vrij, and that's something I have actually just noticed, is that the Dutch centre-back, de Vrij in particular, is stepping into the middle to not allow Sabitzer, you could probably say, Austria's most dynamic and creative player, any time or space on the ball.
Yeah, as soon as he's even getting close to the ball, there's a defender on him straight away, and I think they would have watched videos on him and know that he's a real dangerous player for them. And I feel Holland have done a great job to stop him creating chances or even getting on the ball.
Well, whilst the attacking intensity is maybe fizzled out from the Dutch, but it could be happening here now, though. Wijnaldum can look up. He plays it left to Depay, who's just gone from the edge of the box to receive it. He's in the box and now shoots. It's cannoned off an Austria player and fallen into the path of Wijnaldum, but he did just hold back and not get involved in the attack due to the fact he was coming back from an offside position. As the headers by Leimer into Gregoric, and Gregoric didn't even look up and see that Leimer made the run off him. Here is Stefan Leiner, the right back for Austria. He now will play it to his right with Konrad Leimer. He's coming in field. He's made those off-the-ball runs, but hasn't really been able to have been found yet by anyone in black. Here is Leimer. Plays it forward, looking for the run of Leiner as he stretches for it, but it's just gone beyond him and out of play for a goal kick. But he's somebody in this game, isn't he, Konrad Leimer, that he's made all these forward runs, and, you know, the only time where someone's trying to, you know, penetrate, get in behind the Netherlands defence, that he's not been found one bit at all. That's got to be frustrating for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's very frustrating for him. I think he's making a lot of runs forward, but no one seems to be finding him with a good pass, or you can find him at his feet. So I think that's something that he'll continue to make them runs. But I think Austria need to, maybe at half-time, or he needs to have a little secret word with the players and say, you know, you need to find me in them runs because I keep making the runs forward, but I'm not getting the passes. So I think that's something for sure Austria need to take in consideration at half-time and sit down and have a chat about.
Yes, we are 25 seconds into 1 minute of stoppage time as the Dutch look to just try and close out this first half lead they currently hold on to, courtesy of the Memphis Depay penalty that was overturned, remember, by VAR. Rightly overturned just about, according to myself and Justin. I think we both came to a joint decision there, didn't we, that the referee had managed to get that right and overturn it, as Gregoric has out-jumped Matthijs de Ligt, but headed it straight through to Stekelenburg, as we are pretty much now done and dusted for the first 45 minutes of both these sides' second group matches in the European Championships. And that will be that for the first half. Well, the Netherlands have been the more controlling of the two sides. Memphis Depay has had a big say in the goal and, of course, a big miss in the game. He, of course, scored from the penalty spot after Denzel Dumfries was clipped by David Alaba's boot on his toe. And after the referee, Oral Grinfeld from Israel, gave a free kick, he then concluded it was a penalty after being consoled by the VAR, Pavel Gil, to go there and give it. He stepped up and scored, and then the best chance after that, he saw a shot flash on the half volley wide, and then he missed a sitter from about 3 yards out. As the Dutch's big hope and talisman to try and lead them to glory of this trophy has done the business in the first half. It is half-time at the Amsterdam Arena. Holland 1, Austria 0.
Thank you very much, Matt and Justin, for the excellent first half commentary. We'll be speaking to Justin about the first half and some of the chances at the break as well. And before we have a get a look at some of the chances at half time, Justin, what's been your overall thoughts on that first half?
My overall thought so far is Holland have really dominated the game. They've got a strict game plan, and it seems like their game plan is working in attack for sure. Really attacking down that left hand side with Van Aal and Depay, and stopping any Austria attack really. But for sure, in the second half, Austria for sure have to come out and attack more and create more chances on goal because at the moment the Netherlands keeper hasn't done anything.
Yes, like I said, Justin, he's not really. I don't think he's even touched the ball in that first half once, unless he's been to through a back pass or when ball's going out for a goal kick or whatever. But I don't think Stekelenburg has really touched the ball. He's been a very good dominant Dutch performance. They've not really given Austria much to do or much to talk about up front as well. And we're just looking now on the analysis, the incident which led to the penalty, I think it is. That's the first challenge. Dumfries and Alaba there. We're just seeing Alaba clear the ball, and then Dumfries gets there just as he's about to clear it. Alaba, and he does stamp on his toe. You can clearly see there, Justin. And I think you and my Riley said at the time on commentary when you saw it back when you were going to VAR that he got it spot on, and it was a good penalty for Memphis to play as well. Yes, the keeper, Bauman, Daniel Batchman, should I say, gets the right way, but even if they had two goalkeepers in there, they wouldn't have saved that penalty, would they, Justin?
No, they wouldn't have saved that. It was a great penalty. It was very calm and collective. Slotted it into the corner, and I don't think two or three keepers would have saved that. But no, it was a great penalty for sure. He's been practicing in training, and it's a good spot kick. But for sure, it was a penalty. You can see clearly stepped on his foot, and as harsh it is for the defender. Unfortunately, he tried to get there first, and he didn't. He stepped on his foot, and the referee gave a decision. It went to VAR, and it was a penalty. But yeah, it was a great penalty for Memphis Depay.
Yes, it was a fantastic penalty from Memphis to Pine. We're just looking at the Austria eye line as well, and the space that they've got in behind the defenders, the three defenders, is really causing them quite a few problems. Holland can run from deep and get into those positions and cause them a few problems. And if they're going to keep doing that, they're going to see a lot more space and a lot more goals for Holland throughout the second half, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe they might change their game plan in the second half, Austria. But I think if they continue to play the way they are, Holland are really exploiting, their weaknesses where there's no, say, fullbacks because they're playing free at the back. There's a lot of space out wide in them corners there. So I think Austria need to think about maybe changing tactics, maybe go back to a back four to maybe stop Netherlands exploiting that space in behind the three centre backs.
Yes, and it's half time. If I look at some more of the action from this game, if we just go back and instead of looking back at the day's action that we've got, Justin, we'll look at the action that we've got coming up tomorrow night as well,
Hmm.
which is the England game against Scotland, which we'll touch upon in a second. Because I'm just looking at some Dutch chances. Memphis Depay should have really done better. It's two on two really, and he fluffed his lines, and then Memphis Depay the back post there. But the space you can see that we've been talking about, Holland are getting in behind quite easily. And Wijnaldum there, free on the edge of the box. No one's picking up. You can see the midfield runners from coming from deep, trying to get an end of things. And if it wasn't for the defender putting that block in, it would have been a perfectly good goal there from Jorginho Wijnaldum. And a lot of space is coming from the wide players where they're taking one of the two defenders from the back three with them, leaving space for 1v1s in the middle, which Australia said Justin need to work on, need to change formation on in that first half.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, it's going to continue to happen. I think you've seen on the highlights there. The back three central defenders are getting very stretched. I don't think no one knows who to pick up. The wide players of Netherlands are doing really well. We're having their heels on the line on the touchline. And the three centre backs of Austria, they're not too sure who to pick up. And then one of the centre backs goes out wide. It's an easy flick on for one of the Netherlands players, and then they make the run in behind, and then they're already through to the Austrian defence. So I think they maybe need to change a few tactics because Holland are also getting a lot of space in the midfield to play them forward passes, which is also creating a lot of trouble for Austria there. So I think something needs to change for Austria for sure in the second half.
Yes, and just switching our attention to the big game tomorrow, Justin. England up against Scotland in Group D of this European Championships this summer, and that's going to be a big game tomorrow. And if you look at the England squad, and Maguire's back in contention today's Southgate's confirmed this evening, he's back in contention for the match tomorrow in the squad, and he said in his press conference that no whether he's going to be starting him or having him on the bench. If anything, Justin, would you make any changes to that England side that played against Croatia for the match tomorrow night, or would you keep with the same lineup for England against Scotland tomorrow?
I think if I was the manager, I'd keep things the same. I mean, they got the victory they needed, so maybe you would put some fresh legs in there. But for me personally, I'd keep the team the same. They won the first game. You got to keep that winning momentum going. That starting 11 knew each other from the last game, so I think they'll have a lot of confidence from the last game. So I think if he keeps things the same for this game, at least I think that'll keep the momentum and the consistency going. And obviously they want to keep that winning mentality. But there'll be players who didn't get a chance to start, eager to play, wanting to start the game, especially against Scotland. But I feel, as if I was the manager, I'd keep the team the same, and then bring on some fresh legs, maybe halfway into the second half, just to give it a new dynamic, depending on how the game is going.
Yes, and I know that Matt has also got a question as well for you, Justin. So, Matt, what's your
Mhm.
question for Justin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you worked with Gareth Southgate for a couple of years at Middlesbrough, around about sort of 12, 13 years ago. Did you ever sort of envisage him, coaching the England team? And is he, when you see him now in interviews, do you think he's a lot different to what he was when you had him as a club manager at Middlesbrough? Are you sort of quite surprising? Just give us a bit of an insight to the people listening. What sort of is the mental sort of mind of Gareth Southgate, if you like?
Firstly, he was a player, not only for Middlesbrough, but for England. So he obviously knows what it takes. He's played in major competitions for England, and he's been there for a long time. Was a key player for Middlesbrough in England. So for me, in that aspect, he knows what it takes. And on the other side of things, I think he's a great manager, especially when I was at Middlesbrough. I mean, he took me to the club from the first time I sat down with him. He was a huge influence on me, and reason why I obviously went to Middlesbrough. But no, I think he's a great manager to have for England. If he has a bit more time, he's changed a lot of things for England. I think it's been great that he's taken over and done a great job for England. And I just feel he's done a great job. But no, mentally he's very, very strong, and I'm sure he's brought that mentality into the players. He's brought a little bit of fun, but seriousness into the team. And I think he's bringing free flowing football that maybe England not used to, but the players he's got, I think he's doing a great job with some of the players, and even the tough decisions on leaving certain players out. I think he's handled that really, really well. So for me, I think Gareth Southgate's done a great job, and for me, he's a fantastic manager. And I'll always, give him praise for what he's done and what he's achieved so far.
Yes, and I've a question to add on to that then, Justin, from myself. If you were still playing now, would you want to be playing in this sort of England's squad with Gareth Southgate, be playing with the likes of Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Mason Mount, Jack Grealish, Raheem Sterling? would you want to be playing with those type of caliber players if you were still able to play now?
Firstly, I'd like to get into the squad first. I think it'd be tougher for me to get in the squad than anything else. But no, I would love to have played with some of these talented players. I mean, when you look at Foden, you look at the ages and what he's done for Man City, and I'm sure what he's going to be able to do for England will be, fantastic. He's already a great young player and going to be a world-class player. Phillips in midfield, Calvin Phillips. I think he's a huge player for England. And for me, I think he's a key player in that midfield. And I mean, you look at Harry Kane, you look at Grealish, who's not even played yet or started. I think he's a huge player that's going to come in and do great things when he starts. But no, I'd love to have played with these players. And I think I would have created a few chances for them, and they'd have created a few chances for me if I was able to attack as much as Walker or Trippier are doing.
Yes, and obviously you was a fullback in your time. Would you be able, say, if you was in this England squad now and you got in, so obviously I think you was a right back, if correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but would you
I watched
be
them.
comfortable? Would you be comfortable playing on the left hand side, a bit like what Kieran Trippier is doing for England? Would you be comfortable if Southgate says for this game we'll put you on the left? Would you be comfortable in playing in that role?
Yeah, I'd be very comfortable. I mean, when I was at Arsenal, coming through the first team, I was playing a lot of games at left back. Funny enough, Gal Clichy got injured, and there was no one else at left back at the time, so I was filling in a lot of games at left back. Played quite a lot of games left back, more games at left back than right back actually. So for me, it was okay. I wasn't very good on my left foot, so that was kind of hard, but it was kind of easy for me to adapt from a right back to a left back. And for me, I was just happy to be, in the starting 11, whether it be right back or left back. But now I'll be more than comfortable to play left back. And as you look at it, it's actually easier, or a lot of right backs actually can play left back, but not a lot of left backs can play right back, which is actually quite strange. But if you look at it, a lot of right backs can actually play left back, really. It's strange when you actually look at it.
It is,
I don't know
yes.
why, but that's how it works out.
Yeah, it is, yes. And I know you've just said you probably go with the same sort of lineup for England tomorrow against Scotland, but with the performance of what Jack Grealish showed in the two friendly matches prior to the tournament, do you think he could be knocking on the door for a starting place tomorrow and say in place of, say, I know Sterling got the goal, but say place of Raheem Sterling on the left hand side tomorrow?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people calling for Grealish. I think his talent speaks for itself. I think he's a great player, and I'm sure when he gets his chance, he's going to take it and be a huge key player for England. He might get his chance in this game, he might not, but I would give him a chance. I've always said I would start him, Foden, and Harry Kane as my front three, but I'm not the manager, and I'm sure Southgate's got something. Maybe a surprise for the Scotland team, because obviously they might be expecting him to play. So we're not sure what he's going to do, but for sure I would start him 100% because I like the type of player he is. He brings something different to the England team and the England squad.
Yes, I'd be very inclined to start him as well. I've been impressed when he's played for England, and I know that don't support his club side, obviously, but been impressed when he's played for England, especially in these last two warm-up matches to the Euros. The players are just making their way back out onto the field of play now for the second half between the Dutch and Austria. So what I'm about to do right now is hand you back to your match commentators. And can we have more goals, please? First of all, alongside Justin Knight, and first of all, Matt Isles. More goals, please, guys.
We hope so, Russ. We hope so. Of course, we have seen two good games earlier on the commentary hub, with Belgium triumphing against Denmark and Ukraine triumphing against North Macedonia. In this group, remember, the Dutch are 45 minutes away from a place in the last 16 of the European Championships and join Belgium and Italy in there. And of course, Franco Foda just pacing up and down his technical areas. His players and himself just arrive out for the second half. Will we see an immediate response to Austria, who didn't lay a glove on Martin Stekelenburg's goal or their defence? And of course, just before the game does kick off, it was very good insight to hear from Justin, first of all, about what Gareth Southgate is like as a manager and what he would do for England's game tomorrow. But back with Holland and Austria. It is Holland who get us underway in their all orange strip, Austria in their all black. And it's, of course, Memphis Depay who's on the ball, trying to just turn away from Alexander Dragovic, but it's covered there by Stefan Leiner, and no need for the referee, Oral Grinfeld from Israel, to blow his whistle. I'll go through the lineups in just a minute, but Austria come forward here with the midfielder Konrad Laimer, who gets the low cross in. Matthijs de Ligt there to cut it out very, very well there, but within 29 seconds, Austria going forward and immediately catching the Dutch out on their left-hand side.
Yeah, they've really come out there in the front on the front foot. It looks like they've maybe changed their game plan now. Had a few words to say in the locker room, and they've come out now and really pushing early on in this at the start of the game and trying to catch Holland cold there.
Baumgartner gets it from the throw. Van Aanholt and Wijnaldum both there to try and stop him. Van Aanholt gets a touch to it, and it goes out for a Austria throw. Liner's going to take it rather. Limer's just in front of him. He then throws it looking for a black shirt. Trying to get there short was Sabitzer, but it's cut out well by De Roon and then put out for an Austria throw as the last touch has gone off Frenkie de Jong, who showed good glimpses of what he can do in the orange shirt, and one, of course, the player that he was that tempted Barcelona to pay all that money a few years ago. Good defending by him again as he just steps in front of Limer. Liner can't get around Wijnaldum down the Dutch left, and then Alaba kicks it straight back to the goalkeeper Daniel Bachmann. So no changes at the break as Van Aanholt has gone down. Whether or not he was caught or this is just a muscle injury of some sort, it remains to be seen. Oral Grinfeld has seen something there. He's just sort of collided there with Daley Blind as he went down. I think Baumgartner actually left an arm in there, and it just looks like his sort of back and knee just sort of buckled there, didn't it? That is quite a painful one for any player to endure, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be a painful one. I'm not sure what's up there, but it is for sure it's not going to be a comfortable one for him. Hopefully, for his sake, he doesn't have to come off, but we'll see what happens to him in the next minute or so. But hopefully, he can get up from that. But yeah, it's not a comfortable one at all.
Well, let's just go through the lineups then for the Dutch. It's Stekelenburg in goal, back three, De Vrij, De Ligt and Blind. They then have Dumfries and Van Aanholt as the wing-backs, with De Roon, Wijnaldum and De Jong as the three in midfield, Weghorst and Depay as the strikers. And Austria's lineup is Bachmann, Liner, Dragovic, Interregger, Ulmer, and then it's Baumgartner, Schlager, Limer and Alaba as they're trying to break through the Dutch defence as Sabitzer's pass is cut out. Wijnaldum there just shakes off Schlager and Ulmer, and then Wijnaldum does brilliantly there to keep the ball at his feet when it seemingly looked like he was going to get robbed of it in the middle. Now De Jong out to the right with Dumfries. Haven't really seen him get forward enough in this game. Cuts it to the edge of the box with Wijnaldum. He's going to shoot. Dragovic turns his back and puts his arms behind him and blocks it well as Ulmer gives it to Sabitzer. Now through to Baumgartner. Really poor pass as he overhit it there, did Sabitzer. And then I'll just finish the rest of their team. It is Marcel Sabitzer up front alongside Mikhail Gregoric. Both sides subs, starting with the Dutch. Krul, Bizo, Veltman, Ake, Wijndal, Timber, Gravenberg, Klaassen, Berkies, Promise, De Jong, Donjel Malen. Austria's subs, Schlager, Pervan, Trimmel, Friedel, Leinhardt, Schöpf, Grilic, Ilsanker, Schaub, Lazaro, Onisivo and Sasha Kalajic as Austria have possession with Bachmann. 4 minutes gone in the second half. It's Holland 1, Austria 0, and it does maybe feel like, Justin, we might have a bit more of an open contest this second 45.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like that. Austria certainly come out. Like I said, I had a few words in the half-time there, and they've come out really pushing for this one. Looks like we could have an entertaining second half here.
Here is now Konrad Laimer, who ran himself into the ground at the end of that first half with no real reward at the end of it. He's on the right-hand side here, keeping the ball at his feet. Chips it for Gregoric, who's struggled up front at times as the Augsburg man, had a loan at Schalke a few years ago. Weghorst and Alaba both competing against one another. It's gone away against Wout Weghorst, and it's an Austria free kick. There's David Alaba, who's played nearly everywhere for his national side. As the free kick is taken quickly, headed down by Leiner into Gregoric. Baumgartner looks for Gregoric again. Good defending there by Van Aanholt, who appears to have shook off that injury with ease, as Austria are showing signs of a recovery. Now Ulmer tries to give it to Sabitzer, but it's cut up by De Roon. Austria have it back on the left. Ulmer to Hinteregger. He plays it forward, looking for Baumgartner. And then it's tucked away there by Daley Blind, who steps in there and clears it away. But it's won well against Dumfries by Ulmer. Ball goes in. And then it's gone all the way through to Martin Stekelenburg. But just adding to that, there's a bit more of a feel off the ball for Austria to try and win it back, isn't it? Because in that first half, it was not really there at all, was it?
No, it wasn't. They've really stepped things up here. You can see they wanted to be a bit more physical on Netherlands there, and they're really now up in the tempo, wanting to get that equaliser. Change of game plan, I think.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? As Franco Foda's side looking to try and get back in it as quickly as possible, as Dumfries and Hinteregger were both competing for the ball. Hinteregger just stops Dumfries there from really getting up high and trying to flick it on there. And that's play from Hinteregger that I think he knew exactly what he was doing there from that foul. And, of course, we are still in play here as Dragovic knocks it forward for the attacking midfielder, that is Baumgartner. Here is Leiner, corner of the right-hand box, crosses in. It's gone off Daley Blind for a Austria corner. And a chance for Franco Foda's side to get men up from the back and cause the Dutch a few issues here. David Alaba is going to take it, and this is actually Austria's first corner of this entire match. Remember, Ukraine beat North Macedonia earlier on in the group to get their first win in Bucharest. As Alaba takes the corner from the left, it's a high one all the way to the back post, but Stekelenburg takes it unopposed from any black shirt there. And the delivery from Alaba there, do you think that's a good ball? Do you think maybe he needs to get it more away from the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think he needs to get a bit more away from the keeper, and get the Austrian attackers really attacking the ball there. But I think if he puts that more away from the keeper, I think they have a better chance. But he'll know better. He'll probably be disappointed with that.
Here is now Van Aanholt. Gives it to Memphis Depay, the man who's playing down the same side as him on that left, you could say, at times. Crosses in. It's blocked well by Stefan Leiner. And it's so far still really sort of as it was at the end of the first half, you could say, in terms of the scoreline anyway. Holland lead Austria by 1-0. Memphis Depay's penalty 11 minutes into the first half, the difference after it was overturned by the Israeli referee Oral Grinfeld. Here is Weghorst from Van Aanholt's throw, cleared away by Schlager. And then Gregoric goes down a bit too easily according to the Israeli referee, who's supported by his assistants Roy Hassan and Idan Yarkoni. And then it's cleared up for a Netherlands throw in a game you're listening to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. And of course, you're listening to us on Twitter, or if not, you're listening to us on JB Sports on YouTube. Of course, they are in partnership with us for these European Championships. As Van Aanholt throws it to his defender, Daley Blind. Now to Matthijs de Ligt. Blind forward to Depay. Gives it to De Jong, who has to stretch to stop Schlager intercepting. But then Weghorst tried to give it to Wijnaldum in the middle. But then it's defended well by the Austrians, who are maintaining a stronger shape in the start of this second half. But Wijnaldum just spins away from his marker. Sets Dumfries away on the right-hand side. Tries to take on Ulmer. And the last touch has gone off Dumfries. And up for an Austrian goal kick. But that was very good defending by Andres Ulmer there to not allow Dumfries any movement to try and get around him. As kick is restarted. As Leiner's try to play his way out of trouble, and Van Aanholt put the squeeze on him. And as Leiner tried to turn, Van Aanholt just seemingly went into him. And a free kick has been given just inside Austria's half as we approach the first 10 minutes of this second half. Remember, the Dutch win, they go into the last 16 and go into their final group game in Amsterdam against North Macedonia with their confidence up and a chance for Frank de Boer to probably try and use other players in his squad that he already hasn't used at these European Championships. You think that maybe there'll be a point in time in the game, Justin, where Frank de Boer looks at his subs and just thinks the players out on the pitch and just going to rest them for a later, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. I think as this game goes on, I think you see him make some few substitutions, kind of rest some of his key players. But at the same time, he's not going to want to make too many and disrupt the way they're playing. But if they're controlling this one, I'm sure he'll make a few changes.
Sabitzer there just fouls Gini Wijnaldum, of course, will be playing for Paris Saint-Germain come next season and after the Euros. Whether Sabitzer will be staying at Leipzig is a different question. Of course, his future is very well known that he does not want to be part of Jesse Marsch's club next season. As the Dutch take this free kick shot with Matthijs de Ligt is Martin Stekelenburg. No saves yet to make for the 38-year-old. It's the second oldest player at these championships. Only Portugal's Pepe is older than him. As Austria then win it in the defence of Hinteregger. Now, Javer Schlager gives it back to Hinteregger. Alaba. Dragovic is alongside him looking for the pass. Does give it to him eventually after a couple of touches. Dragovic to Baumgartner. Tried to backheel it inside to Konrad Leimer. Now De Jong nearly got to pile on the go there. Crucial sliding challenge by Dragovic. De Jong tried it again, but it's gone off the back of Schlager as the ball is in the middle now with Schlager. Now Ulmer coming up from left back. Gives it short to Sabitzer. Now up to the left-hand side where De Vrij's gone out to defend it. Dumfries is almost playing as a central midfielder there to just try and close the space down. Here is Leimer. Now Sabitzer to Hinteregger, Alaba. Surely they've got to make this dominance of possession count to some degree or even force a shot on Stekelenburg's goal. Schlager to Sabitzer. Wijnaldum's closing it down. Sabitzer does shoot. It's just gone straight into Daley Blind, who could comfortably play it first time to Wijnaldum, then Depay to Van Aanholt, who then just plays it forward. And Wijnaldum's been set free. We know he's got the energy to play that box-to-box role. He still has it here as he just slows the attack down. That's quite smart play by Wijnaldum, just slowing it down as the game was getting a bit frantic and a bit hectic. And now the Dutch just resort to just keeping possession as De Ligt now has the ball. Out to the right.
Experience there.
Yeah, very experienced there. And you could almost argue and say he could have just waited for that pass to go forward. But do you think maybe there, given he was a long way out, that's his reasons for stopping it? As he has the ball here, he plays it through to Weghorst, but it's overhit. And Bachmann will just let it run and go out for a goal kick. But just sort of alluding to that earlier, Justin, I think, as you were saying, it was really good experience played by Wijnaldum. But maybe people watching that would have thought he should have just gone for the juggler and just played that ball through. But I guess you're on the opposite scale of that.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite scale. It's a bit of experience play. I know for us fans here want to see goals and attacking play, but with experience in the midfield and someone who's won some trophies, I think he kind of knows what he's doing. Slow the tempo down, retain possession of the ball and, slow the tempo down and keep possession of the ball. Don't try these killer passes. But yeah, no, it's experience play. That's what experience does for you. And you can see that's why he's in the midfield and the captain.
Sasha Kalajic looks like he's going to be coming on for Austria. Started the opener against North Macedonia, but was subbed off in place of the man who actually is starting ahead of him tonight in Marko Arnautovic. Actually came on for him in that game and scored, but of course Arnautovic is not involved tonight due to, of course, an ongoing suspension that he's received after his celebration against North Macedonia, in which he said something to Jani Alioski in relation to their Serbian heritage. Here's De Jong, spins away from Leimer as if he wasn't there in the middle. Now out to Patrick Van Aanholt. Depay took a position in the middle. Away from Schlager. Plays it through to Van Aanholt. He's got enough legs to go through to him. Tries to get the cross in. But it's well defended by Leiner and it's going to go out for a Netherlands corner. But that ball was a lovely one through to Van Aanholt. You've got to say it's really good defensive play by Liner just to stay level with, more importantly, Van Aanholt, and cut the cross out to go into Weghorst's path.
Yeah, that was a great block there. And you can see Holland still attacking down that left-hand side for them. Van Haaland's really, really pushing forward. And if you think there's another goal coming, I think it's going to come down that left-hand side.
Depay will take the corner. High delivery to the back post. Flicked up by Weghorst. And there's a chance for De Vrij. It's saved, and then it went to De Ligt, who tried his luck. It came to him pretty quickly, and then it's hit an Austrian player on the line. And the Netherlands there were nearly 2-0 up in a matter of seconds.
Oof, that was nearly 2-0. Yeah, you're right.
It was just
Should have been.
It should have been, as you said. Here's another attempt for Depay to get the ball into the box. It's got pace on it this time rather than the height. It's handed well by Liner and then hit by the Dutch midfielder Martin de Roon, who doesn't get many, and you can see why with an attempt like that, but it's there to be hit, isn't it? But just like that, the game could have been seen out for the Netherlands in terms of them winning this one, more importantly, and them getting into the last 16, as it was a block on the line by Mikhail Gregoric.
Yeah, and if they get there, I think the Austrian heads would have gone down. And I think Netherlands would have really taken hold of this game. And maybe even seen a few substitutions from Frank de Boer.
Yeah, it would have been that case. He would have probably made them earlier than expected. 2 changes here for Austria, though, as Gregoric has been replaced by Sasha Kalajic of Stuttgart, and Florian Grich of Hoffenheim has replaced Konrad Laimer of Hoffenheim. So what do you make of those 2 changes?
I think it may be a change of tactics. I thought they would have changed at half-time, maybe the shape of the team. But I think this is definitely a tactical change and something to maybe push forward to try and get that equaliser, because they have to change something to at least get a few more chances on goal.
Weghorst with a good turn in the box, but he gets the shot away and he's hit it off target. It was a rather miscued attempt by the big Wolfsburg striker. It sort of just fell to him really by accident. He did the right thing in turning, but he was off balance when he took aim, and you could tell with the execution on the shot as it went across him. We're well over an hour here at the Amsterdam Arena as Austria try and play their way out of trouble, but the Dutch have it back in the box. Van Aanholt to Wijnaldum, just didn't quite have enough to be the return. Bounced off 2 Austrian players before being hammered clear by the defence up towards Kalajic, but then De Ligt is there to head it away. Holland 1, Austria 0. Memphis Depay's penalty, 11 minutes into the game, is the difference so far at the Amsterdam Arena in front of those Dutch players. Majority home crowd, even though a few Austrian fans have made the journey from there to be here. And of course, it is so nice to see fans in stadiums. Of course, we saw a practically full Parken Stadium. Of course, in Copenhagen, we saw the Puskás Arena in Budapest have a full crowd, and the biggest in Hungarian football in a very long time, as they were beaten by Portugal. De Jong and Liner both going in 50-50, which sees De Jong concede a free kick there, but it was a pass that really he shouldn't have had to have stretched for.
No, he shouldn't have to stretch for that kind of pass. A better pass there would have been perfect for him. But like you say, back to having the fans in the stadium, I think it's amazing. The players will appreciate it even more. That full atmosphere back in the stands, the fans cheering, booing, clapping, celebrating. It's amazing. And for us at home watching, there's nothing better than hearing fans cheering and celebrating a goal. And, we've all had enough of sitting at home and cheering our team on. It's great to be able to, get in the stadium and watch our beloved players and teams and clubs.
Well, the Dutch are making a triple substitution now. Daley Blind, who was replaced in the first game by Nathan Ake, has been replaced by him again. Donyell Mullen is on now for Wout Weghorst, who can't repeat his goal-scoring exploits in the first game, as there's a bit of a change of emphasis there. I'll get Justin's thoughts on that in a little bit more or so's time. And Owen Wijndal of AZ Alkmaar has replaced Patrick Van Aanholt, who's been replaced. Just to recap the 3 changes: Ake on for Blind, Van Aanholt off, Wijndal on, Weghorst off, Marlon on. As the ball goes in by Dragovic, it's headed away well by De Ligt. And just a quick word on those Dutch substitutes, Justin. It feels like Marlon might be a change of emphasis, but What are your thoughts on Nathan Ake and Owen Windale coming on, who is actually a left wing back? So all of those changes are like for like, you could say.
Yeah, they're like for like, and as I say, I think it's kind of like resting some of the players, with one eye, maybe in the next round or looking at the next game. But they're like for like. I don't think they're going to change the way they're playing, bringing on like for like players, and if anything, they're going to continue the way they're playing.
Well, there's 20 minutes gone of the second half. It is the Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Of course, this is the game you're listening to on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary. We've got more games to bring you tomorrow on the channel. Russ Vernon will be bringing you Sweden against Slovakia. That's the opening game from 2 o'clock. That's being played in St. Petersburg. And then Nicholas Jones will bring you Croatia against Czech Republic from the game at Hampden Park. And then the big one, Mike Arneman brings you England versus Scotland, as football's oldest international rivalry does battle once more, with the game live from Wembley. And of course, if you aren't listening to us on the Commentary Hub's Twitter page and you're listening to us on JB Sports, then of course, thank you. They are colliding with us for our coverage of the European Championships this summer. The other game in this group earlier on today, Ukraine beat North Macedonia by 2-1 as Depay flicks it through to Donyell Malen, who's onside. What an instant impact this would be. Lays it off square to Denzel Dumfries. It's 2-0 to the Netherlands. And that is their passage to the last 16 confirmed. Depay with the defence splitting pass. And there, Donyell Malen could have gone for goal himself, but unselfishly laid it on a plate to Denzel Dumfries, who makes it 2-0 with back-to-back goals in these European Championships. Daniel Backman's been booked in the process, but with 66 and a half minutes gone, it's the Netherlands 2, Austria 0, and no doubt about it, Oral Grinfeld will certainly be having to look at this offside, which looks like that goal's going to stand and not need to be overturned in any way, shape or form.
No, I don't think it will be. Great play, great pass, unselfish play at the end. If this goal does stand, which I think it will, I think Austrian heads will start going down now, and Netherlands will really control this game now as they look and start thinking about themselves as number one in this group, really.
Well, Denzel Dumfries with the calm finish of a striker rather than a right wing back, just rolled it into the back of the net, and that is the goal that Holland really wanted. The extra security which they have now got, and they are just pretty much enjoying the rest of this game now, you feel. But of course, as we know in football, one goal will change things, but the first 67 and a half minutes, if they're anything to go by, they've pretty much got nothing to worry about in terms of Austrian threat, have they, Justin?
Not really. Unfortunately for Austria, you've seen throughout the first half and the beginning of the second half, they've not really done too much and not caused the Netherlands defence too many problems. And like we said before at half-time, we don't think the keeper's made a save. So that's very disappointing for Austria. But, as it looks like Holland are really going to control this one. And it probably looked like a miracle if Austria were to come back into this.
Well, Schlager in this second half, who's really been trying his damnedest to try and get Austria back in the game, drag them into it. It's just won a corner in a seemingly nothing position down the left-hand side. David Alaba is going to take it. How they would just love to go get a goal just like that. It would really just change the mood on the pitch and inside the stadium for the majority of fans that are all in orange, of course, given it is in the Netherlands, this stadium. Ball in by Alaba. It's a tap by Hinteregger, but it's well over Martin Stekelenburg's crossbar. And that's another shot to what's been a really low tally for them tonight in terms of the shot department anyway.
Especially on target. They would love to have gotten a goal that would have been perfect timing. But yeah, they've not really hit the target in this game, which is unfortunate. But, if they get another set piece, corner or free kick, they've got to start making it count. And maybe that's a way back in for them during this game.
Valentino Lazaro will be replacing Christoph Baumgartner for the final 20 minutes of this one. Baumgartner, of course, of Hoffenheim, has not had the ball enough into him as much as he would like. He is a really good, technical, clever player, coming off the back of a decent campaign in the Bundesliga, and he's been replaced by a man who has descent from other countries, in fact, in Valentino Lazaro. His father was born in his father was born in Angola and his mother is Greek, but he's born in Austria, so he certainly had a lot of choices to make when he was growing up in football and choosing allegiances, but he's very firmly Austrian now, the former Newcastle United loanee. We're into the 70th minute. Austria find themselves 2-0 down against the Dutch at the Amsterdam Arena in front of majority Dutch support, of course. It's in the capital city of Amsterdam, home to Ajax, as Lazaro is involved immediately, trying to spin Ake, who slips as he tries to go in for the tackle. Good ball through by the striker Kalajdzic, trying to find Lazaro, and it's cut out well by Nathan Ake as Austria have got another corner.
Let's see if they can make this one count.
Well, the corners so far haven't really been on point, and from David Alabru, who took the previous few, it's going to be Lazaro who's going to take this with a right foot, so let's hope he can find a bit more success from the left-hand side. In by Lazaro, not a bad delivery, attacked by Kalajdzic, and it's just rolled off a player in there. I think it was off a Dutch player. Sasha Kalajdzic, the very tall striker, got up and really it's just hit someone in there without really their knowledge, and it's gone off the defender Wijndal and just gone beyond Stekelenburg's post. So it's another corner for Austria in the same position. Lazaro takes it high to the penalty spot, looking for two Austrian players who were competing. Alaba went down. There was no appeals for a penalty. And it's one of those moments, especially that first corner, Justin, where it just hits a player and it could go absolutely anywhere, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you've seen them, in the Premier League, they've hit someone and it's gone in the back of the net. So, yeah, like I said, Austria seem to put a lot of emphasis on set pieces, and if they continue and they get any more opportunities, they're going to have to start making them count. And you never know. Next time that might go in the back of the net and they might be 2-1.
Well, it would change just like that. They're hoping for a bit of fortune from set pieces, it seems, as you mentioned, as Memphis Depay goes for goal with that attempt, which was a rather wild attempt by him there, as Austria have really not had that creative spark, have they? Their Euros record is actually pretty poor. Their win against North Macedonia on Sunday was their first in 7 attempts. The previous 2 group stages, they'd picked up just 1 point in 2008 when they co-hosted with Switzerland. They picked up 1 point in 2016, that 0-0 draw with Portugal. And of course, the draw in 2008 was against Poland, and they're faring better than the previous 2 campaigns as Marlon gives it to Dumfries. That combination for the goal is linking up here. And of course, they're both club teammates with PSV Eindhoven. Here is Frankie de Jong, who gives it now to Martin de Roon, once of Middlesbrough, an old club of yours, Justin. Bit after your time as well, I must say. Not trying to
after my time.
say your age or anything. Here
Maybe we keep that age out of it.
Here is now Nathan Ake, who plays it forward, looking for a wind-up, but it's gone out for a throw. As the Dutch, they're going to make another change. About to find out who that is. It's going to be the number 16, Ryan Gravenberch, who's going to come on in place of Martin de Roon, I was just mentioning. And Gravenberch is a player that is very well revered in his native Holland, of new talent that has emerged, coming on for his 6th cap. And of course, his brother, Danzel, was a former Reading FC player a few years ago. But changes made. What have you made of Martin de Roon's performance? Because he picked up a cheap booking, but he's just done what he's had to do tonight, hasn't he, Justin? Just helped Frankie de Jong and Wijnaldum in that midfield and been almost, you could say, that protective shield, wasn't he, when he was on the pitch? Yeah,
he's been that protective shield. I mean, he picked up a booking and he's been calm ever since. Never looked like he's going to get a red card, but he's been a shield there and been a huge defensive presence in the midfield there for the Netherlands. Great player. And you can see why he's in the starting lineup. And now maybe rest his legs now for the next game, or even just rest
later
himself
on into
now.
The tournament, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, of course, they are into the last 16 as it stands, barring Austria getting 2. Of course, it's Netherlands 2, Austria 0, and into the final 15.5 minutes of this one at the Amsterdam Arena. In it goes by the defender Dragovic. It was a cross that looked, when it first left his foot, like it was going to pick a black shirt up, but instead it was just too straight for Martin Stekelenburg, because that's the only thing he's really had to hold in this game, isn't it? That cross from Alexander Dragovic, which really does tell you it all as the Austrian fans look on in a pretty glum fashion. It's not been their night tonight for them, as they've been well beaten, bossed in all departments by Frank de Boer's Holland side, who have really shown their not so much class, I would say, in terms of going forward, but just how they've managed the game. Remember, you're listening to this game on the Commentary Hub, the home of alternative commentary, and of course we are on JB Sports on YouTube as well. Here's Memphis Depay, plays it through to Dumfries. He's really had to burst a leg to get on the end of that, and he comes back to give it to Depay. Really good play by the right wing back as Lazaro comes in to defend it well. He's going to come up against the right wing back there, and he wins the challenge. It's a good sliding challenge, really good effort to come back there and defend it, and he's perhaps overstretched. He finds himself in a bit of discomfort there, as I think that might have been just maybe a tweak of his hamstring.
Oh, let's hope not. Hamstring is not nice. Not a nice injury. I've had many over my time. I know what that feels like. So hopefully it's not a hamstring injury there, but it looks like it could be.
Well, he's just sort of got one side of his shorts just sort of pulled up against his leg. He's in a good deal of pain, you could say. I would have thought that the Dutch, who have another sub that they can bring on, will be looking to make that very, very quickly.
Yeah,
for
sure.
They do have Joel Veltman of Brighton they could bring on. They could even bring on Jurien Timber on his birthday at some point in the game. That would be nice for him to take something by, playing in his home stadium and coming on your birthday. And of course, your country gets a win. It'll be a
great birthday present. Great, but no birthday celebrations, but a good birthday present.
I was just about to say, would he be having birthday celebrations, or would he be too motivated for, of course, the latter stages of the tournament, as Daniel Bachmann plays with fire there, as Donyell Marlin was closing him down, but he manages to just shuffle his feet, get his footwork right, and then play it out to David Alaba. And just that it's still there, isn't it? There's no real intensity to Austria's play. It's just slow passing from one side to the other. There's no real sort of great emphasis to really get back in the game, because one goal, as we said, does change things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that much urgency at all. I mean, yeah, if they get one goal, it changes the whole dynamic of the game, which I think, some of the experienced players would be saying to the players, or even the coach would be saying to the players. So it's quite strange at this time of the game, so it's interesting why they haven't done that. Maybe they're showing, Netherlands a bit too much respect in that sense, I think, maybe.
Dragovic to Schlager. He then looks up, trying to play it through to the runner of Andreas Olmer. And they get it back via a block off Wijnaldum. Ball is clipped in by Olmer. Ake away, gets in front of Lazaro. Good header away as well, because had Ake not been there, and the ball would have gone through to Lazaro. He looked like he was onside. Sabit has gone all the way back to... Grilic has gone all the way back to his goalkeeper, Daniel Bachmann. Remember, the other game in this group earlier took place in Bucharest. Ukraine won by 2-1 against North Macedonia, a game that was covered on the Commentary Hub. Ross Vernon was on the commentary for that. And then, of course, in Group B, Belgium recorded a 2-1 win over Denmark, in which they fell behind inside around about 90 seconds with Yusuf Poulsen scoring, before Torgan Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne scored the 2 goals in the second half for Belgium to put their place in the round of 16. As the ball is not kept in play by Donyell Marlin, who was once on the Arsenal books, was let go a few years ago because of a PSV wanted to pay a fee. And to say he's not looked back on that has been something of an understatement. He's really enjoyed life in his native Holland since he returned there just a few years ago. Liner with the ball low and hard to Alaba, who's come up from centre-back. Out to the left, Olmer with the cross. De Vrij with the clearance away. Had to watch that well, did Stefan De Vrij. And somebody who's an interesting figure, Justin, is David Alaba, of course. He's played for Austria in central defensive midfield, left wing back, left back, centre-back. He's literally missed the Versatile's nickname. What have you made of his performance tonight, being the Austrian captain? I mean, it does maybe feel like that centre-back in this Austria team doesn't really fit his position or fit his worth to the side, does it?
No, I don't think it does, but I think he's in there also for his experience, his leadership, and maybe his defensive ability at centre back. Maybe he's wasted at centre back, especially in this team. I feel if you put him either on the wing or in midfield, he'll create, be more of a presence. But I think he's done, obviously, despite the penalty, I think he's done his job at centre back. But yeah, he's Mr. Versatile, I think they call him.
Well, I'm not sure if they do call him that, but we'll call him that, shall we? That would be a new nickname for David Alaba, as the ball was looking for the runner of Owen Wijndal, but it's just gone a little bit beyond him there. Remember, 10 minutes to go now. It's the Netherlands 2, Austria 0. Memphis Depay scored from the penalty spot 11 minutes into the game after the original decision was given as a free kick, but rightly overturned by Oral Grinfeld, the Israeli referee, after being consulted by his VAR, Pavel Gil, to make the decision to be overturned. As David Alaba here is going to strike a goal, and it's flashed wide of Stekelenburg's post. Well, he was a beaten man there, Stekelenburg. He's certainly letting his feelings known to his teammates out there that just let Alaba shoot, and we were speaking about him just moments before, and he's hit that strike there, and he's not far away at all.
It's not far away at all. I wonder if he's pushed forward maybe up front or something with that attempt. But no, it's something positive to take for Austria. And, Alaba needs to start, using his voice. And obviously now he seems to be pushing forward a bit more. And it was a great opportunity and chance for him.
So Holland will make another sub. Their last one they can make. Luc de Jong replaces Memphis Depay. What a good evening he's had. Of course, scored the penalty. Could have had a hat-trick, you could say, after he missed that sitter right at the end of the first half. But still, a good evening's work for the Lyon man, who's a man who is in high demand with Barcelona, isn't he? Given the fact, if rumours are true, he will be playing in Catalonia come the summer.
Yeah, I think so. He's had a great performance tonight. Played really, really well. But yeah, you can see why. There's a lot of talk about him and a lot of speculation about him, but I think he's made it clear where he wants to go, who he wants to work with and be managed by, and not a bad place to want to play or even to be wanted by a club like Barcelona. But I'm sure he's not going to be spoiled for choices, let's put it that way.
Dragovic out to line on the right-hand side, taking on Owen Wijndal. He gets the cross in, looks for Kalajdzic, the big target man, but Matthijs de Ligt up and heads it away. It's gone to the other flank now with Ulmer. Here's David Alaba, who's pushed into midfield now, looks for Kalajdzic again, headed away by the defender for the Dutch in Stefan de Vrij. It's now on with Sabitzer, his liner again. He gets the cross in, blocked by Wijndal. Wijnaldum is there. Schlager being tenacious in there and has tried to win a free kick, but has won a throw for his side, as him and Wijnaldum have smiles. As Austria going to make two more subs, with Karim Onisivo coming on in place of one of the players. But the original change has been made as well, is that Alexander Dragovic has come off and Philippe Leinhardt has come on, and Karim Onisivo has come on in place of Javier Schlager for the final sort of 6.5 minutes of this game. I mean, Schlager was the one for Austria who's tried to win the ball back at any given moment, Justin. He's somebody who has really worked himself into the ground, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's worked non-stop. His work rate's been second to none. He's tried everything, tried to win the ball back and tried to do everything in that midfield, but I feel he's been overpowered by and outclassed and outplayed by the Netherlands midfield. They've bossed that area of the field.
Well, there was a chance there just as he was speaking for Karim Onisivo. What an impact that would have been from the bench. It was a good opportunity for him. It was Kalajdzic who played the ball up in the air. He went to attack. It was a good header, and it was easy for Stekelenburg. He went toward his right. Stekelenburg was practically positioned there, but that is a really good opportunity, isn't it, for the Mike striker?
It's a good introduction, that would have been. But I think they're pushing now for the last whatever minutes to try and get just to salvage a goal here, and then try and make it very entertaining end to the game.
5.5 minutes to be exact left to go. Is Wijndal. Can't but feel with Onisivo, if he was able to really assess the situation, he would have gone the other way of Stekelenburg, because Stekelenburg was practically diving to his right even before Onisivo even attempted the header, wasn't it? And if he'd gone to the keeper's left, that's gone into the corner and it's 2-1 and it's a different game for the final 5+ minutes, isn't it?
It'd have been a very different game. I think, maybe, Holland with the nerves would have crept in there, but it would have been a good ending to this game, and something that Austria really needed and really wanted.
Here is Nathan Ake with a good, powerful run through the middle. Tries to give it to the midfielder there, Wijnaldum, but it's ended up into the Austrian striker Kalajdzic's path. He plays out to the right with Liner. Lazaro's up in support. Back teammates this season. Ball in by Liner to the back post. Over Kalajdzic's head. It's gone to Ulmer. He drills it in low from the left-hand corner of the box. It's gone off Dumfries and it's gone for a corner. But since Kalajdzic has gone on, it feels like Austria have resorted to just trying to put the ball into the big striker.
Yeah, I think that's their game plan now, for the last part of this game. Get the ball forward, get the ball into the box and see what the big man can do.
Corner kick here.
Definitely a change of game plan.
Absolutely. Ball goes into the box. It's a deep one from Ulmer from the left. Well headed away there by Owen Wijndal. And it's going to be another Austria throw-in, which Liner's going to take from the right-hand side. So it's actually Gravenberg who made the header. Here is Lazaro. Now plays it back to Dragovic. No, sorry, to Grilic. Good feet to get away from Gravenberg. Now to Liner. They've just got to get that ball in. There's 4 Austria black shirts in there. They decided to walk it in fact. Alaba and Lazaro play a nice 1-2 together. Alaba then just sees Wijnaldum there and is overpowered by the Dutch captain. And now he gives it to Daniel Marlin. He'll run into the space that's occupied over on Hinteregger's side, who actually does really well in defending that there. That was a challenge that I think my co-commentator would have been proud of. But the Dutch have possession here with Marlin. Here is him again as he gives it to Gravenberg. And getting to that period, Justin, where you've got to start to think about who your man of the match is. I think it's going to be someone in orange, but I could be massively wrong here. But just going with the result as it is.
I might change things. You never know if Alaba would have scored that chance before. I might have picked him, but no. I'm just looking through the stats and looking through the players. But yeah, I think I know 1 or 2 players, but I think I know who I'm going to pick.
Well, when the next goes out of play, you'll be able to tell our viewers who our commentary services man of the match is. It's Netherlands 2, Austria 0. Final few minutes of this one in Amsterdam. At the Amsterdam Arena, remember, Holland with a win will be in the last 16 alongside Italy and Belgium, who booked their places today and last night respectively. Italy have looked really strong in the tournament so far. Belgium, of course, had a real hard-working win that they had to get against Denmark after going behind, as Denzel Dumfries has made a foul on Marcel Sabitzer, as Austria take this free kick shot. Still no real sign that Austria have ever really going to score. That's been from minute 1 right to very, very much the case now, as the ball is in possession with Kalajdzic. Almost as compared to Peter Crouch, given his size and build, is the Stuttgart striker. Here's Lazaro. Okay, comes across down the left-hand side. Liner to Grilic. Liner again. Forward to Sabitzer. Now Lazaro. He gets the cross in. It's gone off Ake. Kalajdzic attacks it, but he heads it well out for a goal kickers. There is a Dutch player on the ground. It's Matthijs de Ligt. And I think cramp is just settling in now for de Ligt, who's just come back from a groin strain that all ruled him out of the opening game against the Ukraine. But I think it's time now, Justin, to get your man of the match, sponsored by Commentary Services.
Oh, let me have to think. I either went for it's out of 3 really. Obviously Dumfries has scored the goal there. Frankie de Jong has been fantastic for me in the midfield, and Memphis Depay obviously has played superb, getting the goal also. But I think you have to go for let me see. I think I'll go for Memphis Depay.
Memphis Depay, okay.
He's been the main main architect of a lot of things in this game. He's been outstanding today. Created all the chances. Played that final through pass. For the second goal, and I think he's been great on the left-hand side there, and even when he went to the central midfield, I think he's played really, really well. It would have been Frankie de Jong, but I think this second half he's kind of taken it easy, done what he's had to do in the midfield, and just cruise through the second half really.
Well, there was a bit of a concern as Justin was speaking there. Matthijs de Ligt went down again, seeking cramp. Sasha Kalajic was the man who was just sort of helping him out, just trying to stretch out the cramp out and sort of get him back up to scratch. But this could be a concern for Frank de Boer. He threw him into the side today in place of Jurien Timber. And, of course, he came back from a groin strain. He does really look in some serious discomfort as the Juventus defender. Such a big, important player. And, of course, with Virgil van Dijk injured, it does mean that the defensive responsibility and almost mantle in terms of the clean sheets and the holding of the defence has fallen on de Ligt's shoulders. So let's hope that he's not going to be missing out for the rest of the tournament, in which the Dutch will be in the last 16 with 51 seconds played of additional time. 4 minutes in total. It's the Netherlands 2, Austria 0. Remember, Austria have got a huge game to come in Bucharest. In their next game, they take on Ukraine. And of course, in what is a big deciding game, it does almost feel like it's going to be second against third. In that one, de Ligt has come back on. But just get your thoughts. What's Frank de Boer been thinking, do you reckon? And what do you think he'll be saying in his post-match interviews and his sort of chat he'll have with the players in the dressing room and things like that in the post-match analysis? It's been pretty much a good enough performance by the Dutch, hasn't it, to take them through?
Yeah, it's been a comfortable kind of game for them. So I'm sure he'll be very happy with his players' performance today. And obviously, winning this game and getting through to the last 16 is the main thing they wanted from this game with the victory. I think he'd be a little concerned on this de Ligt to see what happens with him, and so hopefully it's not too serious. But I'm sure he'd be more than happy with the performance and getting through to the last 16. So it'll probably be now time to decide on, does he rest players or does he, go for the next 3 points and get out of this group unbeaten.
Well, that will be the message for them. And of course, the other thing that they will be playing for will be the fact that they were looking to get a 100% record. Remember, the Dutch at Euro 2012 went out in the group stages. They lost all their games to Germany, Portugal and Denmark in that group. 2016, they didn't qualify. It's their first major tournament in 7 years. And it's a long, long time away for the Dutch. And they are a good addition back to tournament football, just like the Italians, who've really impressed so far in Group A with their wins over Turkey and Switzerland, respectively. Here is now Andreas Olmer to David Alaba. Now plays it to Lazaro, gone beyond him. Wijndal intercepts, as it was just beyond Liner. He's got 3 players alongside him. He picks it out to Wijnaldum. That is an excellent ball. If he turns to his right, he could feed it through to Luc de Jong, but Wijnaldum just took a little bit too long as Donyell Malen was up in support, as was Gravenberch as well. But the Austrians have come away with it in the middle now with Sabitzer. Plays on the outside of his foot to Liner, who's had so much endeavour in this game, but is ultimately not going to get any sort of claim on this game as he would have liked. Now it's with Olmer to the number 15, Lienhart. Good feet shown by him there as he looked like he was going to line a shot up, but he was defended out of it in the end as now the Dutch come forward. De Vrij gave it to Malen. He stayed up with the attack. Wijnaldum's alongside him. Malen shoots. Tries to catch Backman out at his near post and went for power and trying to hit it into the top corner, but he's gone off target with it.
Yeah, it's a good chance at the end there. It's worth a try. It's a bit unlucky there, but it's worth a try right at the death of the game. So I think that could be the final whistle after this kick, couldn't it?
Well, it certainly feels like the last attack, doesn't it? As the Dutch fans are ready and waiting to get up. It's a sea of orange inside the Amsterdam Arena. The majority of it anyway. There's a few Austrian fans who've made the journey. Of course, some of them will no doubt be looking to travel to Bucharest when they take on Ukraine in a big final game in Group C. Of course, Holland take on North Macedonia. Ball goes in from the right from Liner again. It's headed out once again well by the Dutch defence. and it's a free kick for Luc de Jong, but that won't be able to be took because it's a final whistle. And the Netherlands are the third side through to the European Championships last 16. It was a comfortable and controlling performance by Frank de Boer's men. Memphis Depay scored a penalty in which Denzel Dumfries was fouled by David Alaba originally, according to Oral Grinfeld, the Israeli referee, outside the box, but it was overturned to be given as a penalty. And then Dumfries, who scored the winner in match day 1 against Ukraine in Amsterdam, was able to get on the score sheet again as he tucked away Donyell Marlin's pass, laid onto him, which he put in beyond Daniel Bachmann. It's full time. It's the Netherlands 2, Austria 0, and the final thoughts are with Justin Hoyt, who has been absolutely superb on co-coms tonight.
Thank you so much. No, it was a great game. As you said, it was a very comfortable win for the Netherlands there, and congratulations to them. They played well. Disappointing for Austria in this game. We thought, they would have caused the Netherlands a few more problems than they did, but a great victory, a great performance from the Netherlands, and we now look forward to seeing them in the next game.
Yes, absolutely. So it's now time to head back to Russ for the post-match analysis. But we saw Italy look impressive. We've seen Belgium as well look impressive. I think maybe people could be starting to take a little bit of note of the Dutch, Russ.
Yes, indeed, Matt. I think you're right with that, my friend. I think you are totally right with that. And the Dutch were completely impressive, deserved the win tonight. And before I get along with this and getting the analysis, just want to say JB has been in touch, guys. Justin and Matt, and he says, brilliant, great commentary tonight from you both. He's been listening along and he's really enjoyed that one as well. So he's really enjoyed your company tonight. And like I put out earlier, great commentary tonight. One of the best duos I've worked with on the commentary hub, and good chemistry between you both, and you've really enjoyed your coverage tonight. Now, Justin, we'll look at the game, and Austria didn't really trouble the Netherlands much tonight, did they? And they really deserved to win the game tonight. You'd have to say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you have to say, if you look at the performances, look at the chances created, and you look at the way, Netherlands and Austria kind of played, it was very passive from Austria. They didn't really, push or create too many things, whereas, Netherlands always looked like they had a chance on goal, controlled the midfield, controlled the game, and created attacks and put the ball away when it was needed. Obviously, the early penalty decision, maybe been a setback for Austria, but even after that, they didn't really look like they was going to create too many chances, just off set pieces. But yeah, great performance by the Netherlands, and they look like a real dark horse for this tournament, and a team that everyone, I think, is going to start taking note of for sure.
Yes, indeed, you will be. You actually spot on there, Justin. You quite right. Everyone will be taking note of this Dutch side and be fearful of how well they can play. They've shown it in the first two games how well they can play. Their own song again tonight. The first game against Ukraine, that was a superb game, and then tonight has been another superb game and another superb performance. Two superb performances in the opening two match game days for the Dutch, and fully deserve the win tonight. And they've got brilliant players all over the pitch, like you said, Justin. And I know you touched upon it in commentary, and I'll just give you thoughts again now. But you gave Memphis Depay man of the match tonight. You was struggling. You said about 3 or 4 players could have been given man of the match. But what was the deciding factor that you gave Memphis Depay the man of the match tonight, Justin?
I mean, like I said before, it could have been Frankie de Jong or Denzel Dumfries there, but I've gone for Memphis Depay because I think he was the architect of everything, really. You look at the penalty, he slotted away very nicely, very calm, collective. He missed a few other chances. I know he missed that easy chance But I still think he was the creator of a lot of things. Even the second goal, if you look at his touch and his play and his pass through to the striker, who then passed it on to Dumfries to slot it home. I think he is their main man, and I think he showed that in today's game. And he was really a key player for me. But other than that, I think Frankie de Jong was superb. If he would have put in a bit more on the ball in the second half, like he did in the first half, I think he would have been man in the match. But I feel the second half, he just, Frankie Young done what he needed to do. He didn't really have to use up too much energy, and it was a very professional performance from him. But for me, Memphis Depay had to be a man in the match just for his performance, his goal and his through ball for the second goal.
Yes, and we're going to fetch in Mike Horniman as well tonight, who's been watching this game as well, Mike. And you've just heard there the reason why Memphis Depay got man of the match from just it on our commentary tonight, Mike. Would you tend to agree that Memphis Depay was the best player for Holland tonight, Mike?
I'm not
Yeah,
sure he might agree.
I thought he was really good, to be honest. I thought he had a fantastic game. You have to look at De Jong as well. I think De Jong had a very good game. But yeah, Memphis Depay, put the penalty away lovely in the first couple of minutes, 7 or 8 minutes, wasn't it? And then was involved in the second goal as well. So yeah, real talented player. I really like him, and I think he's going to go on and have a good tournament as well. I said it on the stream when you go back. The sort of pre-tournament stream in regards to the Dutch as well. They were going to be a dark horse, and I've got them down as getting all the way through to the semi-finals. And you wouldn't bet against that if they continue playing as they have in the opening 2 games of the tournament.
Absolutely. And Justin, would you tend to agree with me there that they could go all the way to the semi-finals from what you've seen of him so far this tournament?
I think you have. I think they've got a little bit of everything. If you look at their squad, even the starting 11 and the players they've got on the bench, they've got players that can come in and fill in and do exactly the same as what the starting 11 are doing. So I feel they have a very, very good strength and depth, and they have a very, very good squad. And I think, the 2 performances they've put in have been very good. And I think if they continue this performance, from this game, taking it into the next game, and obviously taking it into the last 16, I think they're going to have a huge shout for semi-finals, and even, moving on further from there.
Yes, and if you just look at this performance again, we've seen a few chances from Holland tonight. We've seen a few chances now from Austria as well, and I don't recall Stecklenberg, apart from that header which we've just seen on the highlights there, really have a save to make all evening, Justin. And that goes to show what he actually be with, goes to show what defence the Dutch really have been solid tonight, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, it does. Even defensively, you can see they're very defensively organised. And I think they can play in loads of different ways. I think they can be a defensive team, the team that plays on a counter attack, and I think they can be a team that controls possession of the ball and also play on the attack. So I think they can. They've got a very strong attacking team and defensive team, and they're very organised. With De Ligt in there, De Jong very experienced, and Wanyama obviously very, very experienced captain and leader. I think they're a squad and team that everyone's going to start looking at, and they've been very quiet leading up to this tournament. Not many people have been talking about them, but I think now people are going to really start taking note of what they're doing and keep an eye out for how they perform.
Yes, and I know Matt Tiles wanted to make a point on the match. I'm not sure if it's about the Dutch or Austria. Who is it, Matt?
It's just about the Dutch. I think for me, obviously, they were in a real comfortable position against Ukraine. They were 2-0 up. It was not quite the same sort of performance in terms of the zip and the intensity and the way they were playing it, because they really played full throttle against Ukraine. And it was a slightly different tempo, slightly different feel, because it was an opponent that really were hell-bent on trying to keep the ball, whereas Ukraine were very much of the essence of trying to counter-attack. And I thought the one thing that the Dutch did really well was when they did go 2-0 up, they were very much, trying to just manage the game, because as soon as one goal went in on Sunday against Ukraine, they kind of crumbled for 10 minutes. And I think Frank de Boer did it really, really well. I think those players realised, we don't want it to happen again. Let's just sit on what we've got. We're 2-0 up. We're very comfortable. Dumfries scored in the 67th minute. The game was over with 3+ minutes to go. So I think that was one thing that was really noticeable, was just the fact that they were just so determined just to keep it at 2-0, not go and get a third, or, invite the space and give Austria the opportunity to try and get a goal back to really shake the nerves. So I think that was one thing that was really, really good about the Dutch tonight.
Yes, I would have to agree there as well. And also, I just want to point out, and I'll get both of yours thoughts, well, all three of you thoughts as well. And if just looking at some of the players on the bench, which the Dutch have got at their disposal, like Quincy promised David Claassen, who's I don't think they've yet to feature in any of the matches so far, and it just goes to show that when you've got those kind of players on the bench and they're yet to feature in the tournament, it just goes to show what the other players, the manager Van der Boer is putting out. He's doing a fantastic job if you can keep the players of Quincy Promise and David Claassen on the bench and in the squad, doesn't it, Justin?
Yeah, it shows you how good their squad is. I mean, people are fighting for a starting 11. You can just see the strength and, players they can bring on. And I'm sure you'll see one or two of the other key players playing in the next game. So I'm sure Frankie de Jong is going to, Frank de Boer, sorry, is going to rest one or two players for the next game to keep some fresh legs for the quarterfinals. But yeah, it was a great point before saying that they would have learned from being 2-0 up and conceding some goals later on in the second half of their last game against Ukraine. So I think it was a good learning curve for them. So I think they've learned that. And it was a very experienced professional performance in this game to make sure that didn't happen again. And I think that's something they're going to take forward with them as this tournament progresses and as they progress into the tournament. But no, they've got a very, very good squad. Players throughout, very talented, experienced young players. They have a little bit of everything. So I'm for sure, if they get things right, they could be really a dark horse for this tournament. Semi-finals and maybe finals. We shall see.
Yes, and Mike, I'm going to come to you on this point now, Mike. And tonight, Memphis Depay scored one involved in the other goal, and that's part of the reason why he got man of the match tonight. But how good do you think he has been so far in this tournament for Holland, and how well do you think he's going to have going up forward in the tournament? Do you think he could be up there for the Golden Boot come the end of the tournament, Mike?
I really like Memphis Depay. I thought he had a fantastic game against the Ukraine. I thought he was very good tonight again as well. And yeah, there's always that as a potential candidate. Of course, you look at some other players. I know Harry Kane has yet to get his first goal and get off the mark, but I think that's only a matter of time. Kylian Mbappe, Karim Benzema, the likes of the Italian striker Immobile as well. There's a lot of options. Of course, Romelu Lukaku being another one. The Italian striker, whose name I kind of can't remember at the moment. There's a few more. There's quite a few basically in regards to what I'm saying. But yeah, that's a name that will certainly be in the mix, no doubt.
Yes, and Matt, just going to come to you with the final point of the programme. Weghorst and Depay proving to be a good partnership for the Netherlands in both of the matches so far. And if they continue to link well, how far do you think they can both take the Dutch? Obviously, we've heard Mike say they could be dark horse and he's going down to go to the semi-finals. Justin said they could either go to the semi-finals or the final. If those two stay fit and continue to perform well how they have done in the opening two matches, how far do you think those two in particular, plus the players around them, can take Holland in this tournament?
Well, I think obviously, in a tournament, I think for me, you don't heavily rely on one player just as much. I think it is very much everybody's got to really chip in. Of course, we did see in 2016, Ronaldo did sometimes drag Portugal through, but he had to help. He had to get help elsewhere, didn't he? I think the main thing with the Netherlands is, they aren't highly fact, and I think they will like that. It's a young team. A lot of them, it's their first major tournament. The likes of De Ligt, Frankie de Jong, Dumfries. They've shown that they can really compete on the European stage. Yes, they're playing in the Champions League, so it's not phasing them one bit, but internationally, it's a very different scene. You're coming up against very different teams, in some cases more than you are at club level. So I think that those players have learned very, very quickly about, European Championship football, and the fact that you're going to play sides very different. The two games they've played already, Ukraine were very counter-attacking, very much trying to, profit on the transition. You saw Austria be very possession-based, but not really go anywhere. So I do think that they're able to manage games well. They've got good quality. So I do think they can go far. And I think, Memphis Depay as a player is seriously underrated. You could see tonight, yes, he scored a goal. He could have got a hat trick. He missed the sitter. But it's kind of been irrelevant because he led the line well for the team. He links up the play. He did well. So I think maybe, the Dutch not being really spoken about is probably going to do their chances even more greater good, I think.
Yes, and just one final point before we all go, I'm going to come to each one of you individually and get predictions for the big game tomorrow, England against Scotland, which will be live on the commentary. We've got JB, our very good friend, in the presenter's chair, where I've been this evening. We've got Mike on commentary alongside Justin Knight tomorrow as well. So we'll go to Mike and Justin last, but I'm going to say 3-0 win for England tomorrow. Matt, England-Scotland tomorrow. What's the score prediction for that match?
I hate giving predictions, so I'm probably going to be massively wrong, but I'm going to go with an England win. I feel very confident, so I'd say, England 2-0 for me.
And then we're now going to move across to Justin, and with you being the ex-professional and who's where we've got Southgate. A great insight on Gareth Southgate, by the way, just in the half time. And if anyone's missed that, go back to the half time and hear his thoughts on Gareth Southgate's management to his brilliant insights into that. And Justin, because you know Gareth Southgate well, you played under him and you obviously played with him as well in Middlesbrough and that as well. So how do you feel he's going to get the tactical spot on that? And what's your final score prediction for the match tomorrow?
I think the players won't need any motivation. I think they know what's at stake. They're not going to want to lose. But no, Gareth Southgate will have the players up for it. He'll be up for it. And it'll be a great one. It'll be a great watch. Looking forward to doing a commentary again. So thank you for the opportunity. I think I was wrong on the last prediction, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 England victory. I'm not really good at this prediction thing, but
don't worry, there's a theme on this channel. It's fine.
I'll go for a 1-0 win.
Yes, and Mike,
right.
To finish with you, how do you reckon the game's going to go? Are you going to go for another England victory tomorrow, Mike?
Yeah, so I've got England to win as well. I think England would be too strong for Scotland. I have got Scotland to nick a goal, which none of you have gone with. I've gone with a 2-1 scoreline. I think it'd be a bit more tighter than what some people were kind of pointing it out to be. I do see Scotland getting a goal and then England going on and winning the game. But it's going to be interesting to watch that game and to see how it all pans out. And of course, to be alongside you, Justin, as well. It's going to be great to obviously have your company tomorrow for that great game.
No, it'd be a pleasure. Looking forward to working alongside you again.
Yes, so looking forward to more great coverage in the European Championships tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow we have got another bumper day, 3 more live coverage of the games. Tomorrow we've got the first game between Sweden and Slovakia. That is with myself. Then we've got Nicholas Jones on the mic as he brings you Croatia versus Czech Republic. Then at 8 o'clock, it's the big one. We're just warming you up, me and Nicholas, in the afternoon. The big one is tomorrow night. Join JB, Mike Orneman, and Justin Knight. And you may even get a special appearance from me before the game and at half time with my thoughts at the end of the game. But England against Scotland is a big one. 8 o'clock tomorrow from Wembley Stadium. And I'll be live here on the commentary hub. Don't miss it. And thank you very much for listening to our coverage tonight. For myself, Matt, Justin, and of course Mike, thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye for now.